of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
Hey, Gorse.
Yeah?
There's no moon tonight.
What of it?
It's spooky when there's no moon.
You afraid of something, Arlo?
Of me?
You. What are you afraid of?
Of course, I ain't been much afraid of anything since the second battle of Bull Run.
That so?
Oh. I took my first bullet at Manassas Gap. I thought sure I'd die, but I didn't.
That's nothing. When I got shot on the Chattahoochee River over in Georgia, I knew I wouldn't die.
How'd you know?
I just knew, that's all.
Weren't you afraid?
Afraid of what?
Dying?
I've never been afraid to die.
Well, I'm not afraid. Not anymore. Not since Bull Run.
And what's all this about there being no moon, Arlo?
I said I'm not afraid to die. I didn't say I'm not afraid of anything.
Oh, shut up.
Okay. Hey, Gorse.
Yeah?
Wished we could stop and light a fire.
What?
I got some pork to cook.
Now listen here, Arlo. You trying to tie the rope around your own neck?
No.
And eat your meat raw, you hear?
Raw meat gives me the bellyache.
You needn't worry about that, Arlo. Those people back in Dodge, they got a cure for bellyache.
They have?
You they have. A lariat rope over the limb of a cottonwood tree.
Oh, they ain't going to catch us.
They will if you go building bonfires all over the prairie to cook your dang pork with.
Well, I'll just build a little bitty Indian fire, Gorse.
Oh, shut up. Arlo? Look over there.
Where?
Over there. At the foot of that little rise.
I don't see nothing.
That cabin, you do too see.
Oh, that. What about it?
There's no light in it, you fool, and there's no smoke. It's deserted.
Well, that's good, ain't it, Gorse? Nobody to tell the posse which way we went.
How do you know they got a posse?
Well, they should have.
Anyways, we'll sleep in that cabin. If somebody does come along, we can fight them off from there.
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on. Come on. It's big, ain't it, Gorse?
Big enough for us, anyway. Come on, maybe there's some food inside. Hey, wait. There's a horse in here.
He must have got in and the door blew shut, poor thing.
Well, get him out.
Yeah, easy, boy. Easy now, son. Easy. I got him. Now, outside, fella, outside. Come on. Yeah. Hey, that's funny.
What's funny?
That horse, he's all wet with lather.
Lather?
Hold it right there.
Hey, there's somebody in there.
Now get your hands up.
What?
You're framed in the door and you'll die if you make a wrong move. Now turn around and stand there. Now take your guns.
Who are you, mister?
All right, get outside. Slow. right, that's far enough. Now you can turn around. All right, you, what's your name?
Orlo.
Orlo what?
Just Orlo.
And you?
William Goss, but I don't use the William.
I'll remember that.
Look, mister, we don't mean no harm. We just thought your cabin was deserted and we could sleep in there tonight.
It's deserted, but you won't be sleeping anywhere tonight.
Now, mister, you got no right
You'll
to...
sleep in Dodge when we get there.
Oh, no. No, we can't go back to Dodge.
No? Why can't you?
Well, you see, we shot a man that day.
Orlo.
This morning it was.
Orlo,
and
you shut up.
But, Gorse, you know we can't go back.
I'll shut you up.
Hold it, Gorse.
Well, he always did talk too much. The war made him like that, mister. He was all right before the war. So they say, anyway.
Now, listen to me, both of you. This isn't my cabin.
It isn't. Then why'd you put us out of it?
I'm trying to tell you why. I'm a United States Marshal.
What?
Oh, Gorse, we got caught.
You're both under arrest for murder.
Well, I'll be.
So that's why his horse was hot. He been chasing us, Gorse.
How could he have been chasing us? He was in front of us.
I've been on your tail ever since you ran out of Dodge. The trail you were following led right here, so I made a circle and waited for you. Does that explain things?
Hey, that's pretty smart, isn't it, Gorse?
We was riding too slow.
Yeah. But if I'd known what I was following, I think I'd have just ridden up behind and yelled at you to stop.
We'd have run.
Now explain something to me, will you? What are you men?
We're just friends.
Yeah, me and Gorse been friends for a long time.
No, that's not what I meant. Look, you shot that store clerk in Dodge and you killed him. But you're sure not gunmen, and you're not bandits. Now, what are you?
We're broke. We needed some money.
But he wouldn't give it to us. He grabbed the gun instead out under the counter. And he'd have shot us with it, too. We had to kill him.
That's all there is to it, Marshal.
Not quite, I'm afraid. You killed a man, and I'm taking you in for murder.
They're going to hang us?
Not they. The law, maybe. But you'll get a fair trial.
Won't matter. We done it. We'll hang.
Yeah, you're right, Gorse. We'll hang, sure.
I don't know. I suppose you'd have killed somebody sooner or later. All right, get your horses.
Ain't you going to handcuff us or nothing?
Why?
Oh, no reason, Marshal. I was just asking.
I thought so. All right, come on. It's a long ride to Dodge. It took all night to ride back to Dodge, but I didn't have to watch my prisoners any more than if they'd been a couple of riders I'd thrown in with on the trail. Maybe it was all their years in the war, in the Army, that made them do whatever I, as a marshal, told them to do. The idea of not obeying me never occurred to them. Next morning, I had Chester lock them up, and then I went off to get some sleep. About noon, I got up, ate something, and dropped into the Texas Trail.
Sit down, Matt.
Yeah, sure, Kitty.
I hear you brought in those murderers.
Yeah, I did.
Well, aren't you glad?
Yeah, sure, Kitty. I'm glad.
Well, they're the ones, aren't they? You got the right men.
Yeah, they're the ones. They did it.
Matt, sometimes I don't know...
Kitty, they're just a couple of not very bright men who've had too much war. I guess they just got used to killing. I don't think it means anything at all to them.
Well, then
they're
what?
not mean, and they're not vicious. They're just kind of loco. Well, that's what makes them dangerous, I guess.
Marshal Dillon?
Yeah.
I hear you brought in two men this morning, Gorse and Orlo.
No? How do you know their names?
Well, everybody does by now.
Yeah, I suppose so.
They didn't do it, Marshal.
What?
They're innocent. They didn't kill that clerk.
Who are you, mister?
My name is Blaine, George Blaine.
All right, Blaine, what's this all about?
Well, what I said, Marshal. They're innocent. You see, I and Ned and Lou, well, over there at the bar, we saw them just leaving Kelly's stable when that shooting took place.
Would you swear to that in court?
Why, sure, Marshal. How come you arrested him anyway?
Well, I'll tell you, Blaine. They shot a man.
Nobody saw that killing.
Look, I don't know who you are or what your interest in this is, but they admit killing that clerk. So why don't you just go back and join your friends at the bar and forget about it, huh?
No, Marshal, we won't forget about it. You shouldn't have arrested those men. And what's more, we're going to see to it they don't stay arrested.
Oh? You want to see to it right now, Mr. Blaine?
No. No, there are other men around here interested in justice, Marshal, and I think we'll talk to them first.
Don't do it, Blaine. Don't get anything like that started here in Dodge.
See you later, Marshal.
Who is he, Kitty?
I don't know, Matt. He and his 2 friends came in on a Santa Fe from St. Louis a couple of days ago. That's all I know.
I wonder what they got in mind.
Oh, they've been drinking. It's just talk, Matt.
Yeah, maybe. I'll see you later, Kitty. So long.
Hurry back, Matt.
We will return for the second act of Gunsmoke in just a moment. But first, tomorrow night, CBS Radio's Escape dramatizes a romantic conflict titled El Guitarrero, which means the guitarist. It concerns a Mexican musician who resorts to traditional and some surprising methods to protect his marriage when an American poet tries to steal his wife. Remember, it's tomorrow night on Escape, presented on most of these same stations by CBS Radio. El Guitarrero. Now the second act of Gunsmoke.
No, sir, Mr. Dillon, that fella come here, but I wouldn't let him talk to prisoners.
Was he alone, or did he have his 2 friends with him, Chester?
No, he was alone, sir.
Yeah.
But I did notice a couple of men waiting around outside now that you mention it.
You, haven't heard anything about this Blaine or his friends the last day or so, have you?
No, sir. Nobody's mentioned them. Around me, anyway.
Well, it sure stumps me.
You think maybe they're going to cause trouble, Mr. Dillon?
I don't know, Chester. They might try, but it'd be easier to stop if I knew what was behind it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, mobs have tried to open this jail before, but to lynch somebody, not to turn them loose.
Mighty curious, all right.
Well, Chester, I'm going to have a talk with the prisoners. Maybe they might know something.
Well, it's worth a try, sir.
Yeah.
Hey, Gorse, it's the marshal. Hello, Marshal.
Hello, Orlo. Gorse.
How are you, Marshal?
Well, is Chester treating you all right?
Well, wasn't much of the bait we had this morning, but the noon meal was fine.
Marshal? We get supper, too?
Of course you do.
When they gonna hang us, Marshal?
Well, Orlo, you haven't been tried yet. Nothing's going to happen until you have a trial.
How long will that take, Marshal?
Well, what difference does it make, Gorse, as long as we get fed every day?
Listen, you men, I want to ask you something.
Sure, Marshal.
Have you ever heard of a man named Blaine? He's tall, has black hair.
Blaine. Wasn't that the fella's name who was here this morning, Orlo?
Yeah, that's right, Blaine.
Here this morning? Chester said he kept him out of here.
Oh, he come around back, outside, talked through the window there.
Seemed like a nice fella. Sort of crazy, though.
Now, why do you say that, Orlo? What do you want?
Oh, he kept saying he had witnesses and all like that. Said we're innocent. We shouldn't be in here.
Well, what'd you tell him?
Well, we told him how you caught us and what we did and all.
We told him there wasn't any witnesses we could see. Just us.
And that clerk, but we killed him.
Sure, but Blaine was saying him and his friends saw us down by some corral or something. I don't know. He was all mixed up.
Tell me, have either one of you ever seen this Blaine before?
Oh, no, Marshal. Never laid eyes on him. And that's the truth.
That's right, Marshal. Me and Gorse, we never tell lies.
Yeah, I know. Did Blaine tell you what he's going to do? What his plans are?
Nary a word, Marshal. Except he did say for us to set up a holler that we didn't kill that fella.
Oh, he's crazy, that Blaine. I couldn't get his drift at all.
Well, I'll tell you what it is, Orlo. For some reason that I don't know, Blaine wants you two out of jail. He may come here with a mob and try and get you out.
Well, he can't do that. We're under arrest here.
Yeah, I know. But he might try.
What'll we do about it, Marshal?
Nothing, Gorse, nothing. I'll handle it.
You sure, Marshal?
Let me know if you need anything, huh?
Oh, we're fine, Marshal. Thanks just the same.
Sure.
Okay. I'll see you later, then. Hello, Doc. What are you doing here?
I heard there might be some excitement, Matt.
Oh, you did, huh?
Yeah, right here at the jail, too.
Give Doc a gun, Chester. We can use another man.
Name your preference, Doc. Shotgun or rifle?
You sit right where you are, Chester. I'm not a gunfighter. My work begins where you fellas leave off.
Well, you may have a busy evening, Doc. But I hope not.
You never can tell, Matt. But I take things as they come.
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm. I better go and get my office cleaned up. If anyone gets shot, you send them right up there.
It doesn't improve a man's temper to spend the afternoon sitting around and waiting for a mob to form. A mob that's going to head his way when it gets its spirits high enough. Chester and I didn't talk much. We just sat and waited. Long about dusk, we saw a couple of dozen men gather in the middle of the plaza. And then Blaine appeared, and he began haranguing them. And the crowd grew. In a little while, it started moving down Front Street, down toward the jail, and us.
Looks like everybody in Dodge is taking an interest, Mr. Dillon.
We'll use shotguns, Chester. I never saw a mob yet that was eager to jump a shotgun.
Yes, sir. Here's yours, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, thanks. Well, let's go meet him outside, Chester.
All right, sir.
Here, this is good enough.
Pretty big crowd coming, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, maybe most of them are just curious. I sure am, anyway.
What do you mean, sir?
Well, I haven't got this Blaine figured, that's all.
All right, hold it, man. Hold it, man. I'll see if I can talk some sense into the marshal first. Well, Marshal, I was right. There seem to be a lot of men in Dodge interested in justice. We want Orlo and Gorse out of that jail, Marshal. We want them freed. Aren't you going to say anything, Marshal?
I don't see your two partners, Blaine, whatever their names are.
Don't you worry about them, Marshal. Now, you tell us, you going to turn those prisoners loose, or do you want us to do it? Well, speak up, Marshal. Which way is it going to be?
All right. Now, you've all heard Blaine's story. He claims he and his friends saw Orlo and Gorse at Kelly's stable when the shooting took place. Now, that's pretty good evidence that they didn't kill that clerk. And it could be true. I'm going to go inside and I'm going to talk to him about it. And I'll give you my answer in half an hour. Now, is that fair enough?
Yes. A half hour will just about do it, Marshal.
I think it will, Blaine.
But no matter what you decide, we're going to turn them loose. Isn't that right, man?
Chester, keep an eye on Blaine. Don't let him leave here if you have to shoot him to keep him around.
Yes, sir, but I don't understand why
Just do as I say, Chester.
Yes, sir. What's doing, Marshal?
I don't know, Gorse, but I just might find out.
This Dodge is a mighty strange place, wanting to turn prisoners loose.
Yeah. I'll be back soon.
Matt! What are you up to? You're going to break my window with those rocks.
Get on here, Doc. I need you, and hurry.
Huh? Oh, well, sure, Matt. Stand under the window here, and I'll climb down on top of you. It's only a few feet.
Okay.
Ah.
All right, come on, hurry.
Yeah, well, what's this all about, Matt? Where we're going?
We're going to the express company first.
Well, what for? It's closed.
Maybe not. It's not quite 6.
Everybody in Dodge is out there in the street. I was watching from my front window.
Not quite everybody, Doc. Blaine's 2 friends aren't there.
Yeah, right. Well, what do you
I'm working on a hunch, Doc. If I'm right, I want you as a witness. And we'll go back and show that mob what fools they are.
Yeah, whatever you say, Matt. But I haven't got a gun.
Don't worry, I'll do the shooting. We reached the rear of the express company, and I took a quick look through the window. The single room was deserted. And the only other place would be the bank, if I was right. And I was. 2 horses were tied to a tree outside the back entrance, the door of which was ajar. I made Doc get around the corner of the building where he'd be safe. And I stood close to the door and waited. In about 5 minutes, I heard him coming out.
Let's get that mask off. Yeah, we'll hide this stuff at the stable, go down and join Blaine. Hurry, Lou, we're late now.
Get your hands up. This is a shotgun.
Don't use it. You got us. Don't shoot.
Well, you're not the fightingest men I ever saw. All right, I'll take your guns now, and don't try anything.
Yeah.
And yours? Doc.
Yes? Well, what do you know? Blaine's partners. You sure guessed right, Matt.
Now, who's inside?
We didn't hurt him, Marshal, just tied him up.
Who, I said.
Well, that old man, the banker.
All right, go take a look at him, Doc. Take those money bags with you. But be quick, we haven't got much time. I'll have company for you shortly, gentlemen, so you just sit quiet, huh?
Blaine's going to be mighty surprised at this.
Come on, Doc.
My gracious, I thought you was never going to come out, Mr. Dillon.
Well, Marshal, are you going to be smart? Are you going to turn him loose?
You're under arrest, Blaine.
What? Marshal, don't be a fool. You aren't arresting anybody. Is he, man?
Tell them who I just locked up, Doc.
All right. That's right, man. Marshal just arrested Blaine's 2 friends.
What?
You make one move and I'll cut you in half, Blaine. All right, go ahead, Doc.
I was right there with him. Caught him up the street, raiding the bank. They're locked up inside right now.
Well, they're no friends of mine. We've been drinking together, that's all. And besides, I wasn't anywhere near that bank. I was right here.
Yeah.
You men saw me here.
And you got nearly everybody else in town here, too, Blaine. So your partners could work unmolested. Take his gun, Chester.
Yes, sir. All right.
All right. All right, you men. Now, you've made fools enough of yourselves for one evening. Now, you go back where you came from and stay there. Now go on. Inside, Blaine. Your friends are waiting for you. I never did find out just who Blaine was. He kept his mouth shut all through the trial. It could be that he'd never been arrested before. But anyway, he and his partners got 5 years. That's better than Orlo and Gorse made out. They stood up and told their whole story as straight as if I'd told it myself. I guess telling the truth was about the only sense of right and wrong that the war had left them. They weren't bad men, but they were dangerous. And early one morning, a month later, up in Hayes City, on the order of the court, Orlo and Gorse were hung.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman Macdonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were John Daner and Harry Bartell, with Lawrence Dobkin and Lou Krugman. Parley Bear as Chester, Howard McNear as Doc, and Georgia Ellis as Kitty. Gunsmoke is heard by our troops overseas through the facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke.
Good evening, friends. Welcome again to the Inner Sanctum. I'm Raymond, your host. Come in, won't you, and sit down? Well, very nice to see so many of you here. People who believe in black magic, haunting, and ghosts. Huh? Oh, you don't believe in them? Well, our story tonight is about some sailors who didn't believe in them either. But it didn't take them very long to find out that such things did exist, that they were wrong. Dead wrong.
Inner Sanctum Mysteries brings you one of Broadway's and radio's best-known stars, Arthur Vinton. Tonight, Mr. Vinton appears as Captain Bates in Dead Reckoning, an original radio drama by Robert Newman. When you have that all-in, down-and-out feeling, you may be a victim of irregularity. Then you can help restore your usual pep and vigor by taking 1 or 2 Carter's Little Liver Pills with a glass of water when you go to bed tonight. Carter's Little Liver Pills help you feel better by providing remarkable two-way relief. Relief you cannot expect from a simple laxative alone. Here's what happens. First, Carter's Little Liver Pills wake up the flow of a vital digestive juice, and they do this usually within 30 minutes after taking. Second, they help restore regularity. It's this two-way relief that works so fast and so differently to help you feel up on your toes again. So don't go on feeling way below par when you can get this kind of relief with Carter's Little Liver Pills. Get a box from your druggist now, only 25 cents.
And now I think we're ready. Ready to begin as weird and eerie a tale as ever made a sailor wish he'd never seen salt water. A story of something that came out of the fog to drag men to death in watery graves. So, if your nerves are good and you're not afraid of nightmares, then turn down the lights and listen to Dead Reckoning. The great banks which lie off our eastern seaboard are perilous waters, shrouded throughout most of the year by heavy fog. Slipping through the thick gray pall, this foghorn wailing like a lost soul, is a small tramp steamer. It is late afternoon. There are two men on the bridge. Suddenly, the door of the wheelhouse opens.
Afternoon, Mr. Ross.
Good afternoon, Captain.
Weather still is pretty dirty, eh?
It's thicker than ever.
You got lookouts posted?
Just the one man on the bow and one aloft.
Good. I've been sailing these waters for 20 years, and I'm never really happy till I'm off the bank.
I know it, sir. Gets us the fog. Never knowing what's ahead of you. What's likely to come out of it.
Something's ahead, sir. Just off the port bow. What? Where?
There it is, a schooner. It's almost dead ahead.
Put your helm over hard.
Hard over it, isn't it? He's still coming with... There, we're just clear astern.
Another half minute, we'd have cut her in two. Ahoy, you lubbers! What in thunder's the matter with you? Why aren't you sounding a foghorn? Something does seem to be the matter, sir. There's no one at the wheel. Yes, you're right. No one at the wheel, no one on deck, and... Look there. A distress signal. You'd better look into this. Half speed astern.
Half speed astern, sir.
Half speed astern.
What do you think it is?
I don't know. But she looks to me as if she's been abandoned. Maybe you'd better lower a boat, Mr. Ross.
There is someone aboard it, sir. Look, just coming up from below.
Great Scott, he's dived overboard. He's swimming this way. Up forward, Mr. Ross, and heave him a line. And when you get him on board, bring him up here.
Aye, aye. There he is, Captain. Kind of rocky. Got banged up a bit before we can haul him on board.
Take it easy there.
I'm all right. Listen, Captain. Get away from here fast.
Get away? What about the schooner you jumped off? The rest of the crew?
Dead. Every last man.
Dead?
I'm the only one left alive.
Dead of what?
That thing got them. One after another. That gray thing from the sea. If I hadn't locked myself in the galley, it would
What are
have...
you talking about? Oh, I'm sure you'd better lower a boat. Take a look, see, Mr. Ross.
Aye, aye, sir.
No. No, you fools. Don't you realize that it's still there on the schooner? Do you want it to follow you back here, kill you off one by one, too? Don't you realize?
Oh, here, catch him off.
I've got him.
Good. All right, inside here to my cabin. All right. Put him in on my bunk here.
Yes, sir. There we are. Poor devil. They were shot. Think he's out of his head, sir?
I don't know. It might be all imagination. On the other hand,
We should investigate. I'll take a boat over and see what I can see. Get aboard, men. Let her run. Look around the stern.
here's her name, sir. The Sea Spray.
Uh-huh. Grab that line. Make it fast, Johnson.
Aye, aye, sir.
That's the ticket. Now hold it steady, man, while Garson and I climb on board.
Huh? You want me to come with you, sir?
Two of us will be able to search her that much more quickly. What are you afraid of?
I don't know, sir. I mean, nothing, sir.
Come on.
She's still got all her sails set, sir. And everything battened down, just as if there was nothing wrong.
Ahoy, anybody about? Ahoy! Oh, let's go below.
What's the need of that, sir? If there was anybody down there, wouldn't they answer?
Suppose they're sick. Suppose it's the plague or something.
Well, okay.
Everything shipshape down here, too.
Closed, careful. Still under all the bunks?
That must be the galley. Take a look in there, Garson.
I think. Nothing in here either. Hot still on the stove like the cook had just been fixing supper. Couldn't have been a fire, sir.
No sign of it anywhere. Couldn't have been a leak. A crew taking her to the boat because they thought she was sinking. She's not riding as if she was waterlogged.
Let's get out of here, sir.
What's the hurry? What are you so jumpy about?
Jumpy? Who's jumpy? He's just a... Well, suppose I am. A crew don't abandon ship out in the middle of the banks for no reason.
No, that's true. They don't. I'd give plenty to know what that reason was.
Well,
Well, okay, Garson, come on. Let's get back to the ship. Make sure the boat's in place and everything's stowed properly before we get on the way, man.
Right, sir, we will.
Oh, there you are, Mr. Ross. Well, what'd you find out?
Nothing, sir.
Nothing? Well, what do you mean?
Just that, sir. We didn't find out a blessed thing. We looked her over from stem to stern. Everything was shipshape. There didn't seem to be a single reason why they should have abandoned her. But there wasn't a soul on board.
Strange. Mighty strange. Well, let's go inside and see if our friends come through yet.
Yes, sir. He's trying to sit up.
Oh, here, now let me help you. Yeah. Are you sure you're all right now?
Yes, sir. Sorry I keeled over. I guess I was in worse shape than I thought I was. I'm sorry I spoke to you like that.
Oh, now, forget it. What's your name?
Banning, sir. Joe Banning.
Banning, eh?
Excuse me, sir, but are we underway now?
Yeah, it's just got started. Why?
Well, it's the schooner we're away from. Then we're away from that cursed ship. The happier I'll be. If you hadn't come along when you did, we'd have to spend one more night on board that ship.
Easy, Banning, easy. There's nothing to worry about now.
The work began 2 nights ago. We've been out on the bank. We were fishing for about 3 weeks by then. We were just starting back to port when the water went funny.
Funny? How?
Turned salty and red. Red as blood.
Rust. Corrosion in your tank.
That's what we thought at the time. But that night, men started disappearing.
What?
Disappearing?
Captain Bassett himself was the first. I left him at the wheel. I went below to get some grub. When I came back on deck, he was gone.
Gone? Gone where?
We didn't know. We put about, went back looking for him. We never found him. Stevens, the mate, took over, took the next trick at the wheel. When it was time to change watches, we found that he was gone, too.
What are you getting at?
The truth. Well, we figured we could still make port even though we were short-handed. Anyway, we were pretty sure we'd be off the banks, out of the fog belt by morning. So that if we blew a distress signal, it would be seen. But in the morning, there was still fog all around us. It was like we couldn't get away from it. And another man was gone.
Now, look here, Benny.
Just a second, Mr. Ross. Let him finish. And that's the way it went? One man after another disappearing with no way of telling where they'd gone or what had happened to them?
Not exactly, sir. 2 more men went that day. Another that night. That left only 2 of us, Ross and myself. We were near crazy by that time. Trying to stick together. But we had to have someone at the wheel and we had to weed. I went down to the galley to get some hardtack. While I was down there, I heard Larson scream. I went back to the bridge. There he was fighting with it.
What?
That's just it. I couldn't really see it. Larson let out that one yell. Then went backward over the rail. I stood there staring. And all of a sudden I felt something. Something soft and slimy trying to take hold of me. I dived back down into the galley. Slammed the door.
Wait a minute. You mean...
something had come out of the fog and boarded the schooner. Something you couldn't see. It got all the rest of the crew, and if you hadn't come along when you did, it would have gotten me, too.
Let's see. How long has it been since you had anything to eat, Banning? Since you had any real rest?
About 3 days.
Well, now, suppose you see the cook. Have him give you something hot and then go forward and get some sleep, eh? We'll talk about this again in the morning.
You don't believe me, sir, do you? You think I'm out of my head?
Oh, now, Banning. You run along, and like I said, we'll talk about this some more tomorrow, eh?
Yes, sir.
You don't believe him, do you, sir?
You mean you do?
Well, I don't know. But I won't be sorry when we get off the banks out of this fog tomorrow.
morning, Captain.
Morning, Mr. Rouse. Well, good morning, Banning. So, you feel well enough today to stand a trick at the wheel, eh?
Yes, sir. I'm no deadhead. I don't mind working my passage.
Good. Fine. Had breakfast yet, Mr. Rouse?
No, sir. The fog's still so thick, I thought I'd better stay on the bridge till you came topside. Funny thing, I thought we'd be clear of the banks by now.
Me too. Well, I asked the cook to bring some coffee up here to us. And later on, if the weather starts clearing, set it down here, cook.
Aye, aye, sir.
Anything the matter? What are you waiting for?
Just for you to try the coffee, sir.
Try it? What's wrong with it?
What is wrong with it? It tastes terrible. What did you put in it?
I didn't put anything in it, sir. It's the water. It's gone funny.
Funny?
Turned kind of red and queer looking. Captain, that's what happened on the sea spray just before.
Quiet, Banning. It's probably just rust, cook.
Is it, sir? Does rust taste salty?
I say it's rust. And I don't want you to mention this to the crew.
Very well, sir. So how are you going to keep him from finding it out for himself, sir? Oh, I almost forgot, sir. Sparks asked me to give you this.
Oh, yes, the radio check on our position. Check it with the chart, will you, Mr. Ross?
Yes, sir. Just finished taking the log reading and working it out, and Great God. This doesn't make sense.
What doesn't?
Look here. Here's where I figured we should be, clear of the bank.
Well?
And here's our radio position, still in the middle of the bank. Right where we were yesterday.
What? But that's impossible. We've done a good 200 miles since yesterday. Of course, that's just by dead reckoning.
Dead reckoning. That's just what it is.
Banning.
You fools, I warned you, but you didn't believe it. The water turning to blood, the ship sailing around and around in the park, unable to get away. That's what happened on the sea spray. That's what's happening to us. Don't you realize what that means? That thing from the sea. It's here on board this ship.
So the thing from the sea, the thing that can't be seen, that came out of the fog and dragged an entire crew to its doom, has taken possession of another ship. Will the same thing that happened to the sea spray happen again? In just a moment, we'll find out. Meanwhile,
don't sit back and envy the life of the party all that pep and ginger. You may suffer a headachy, sluggish feeling due to irregularity, but thousands of others do too. And many of them shake it off by taking Carter's Little Liver Pills. Try them tonight according to the directions on the package. Then tomorrow morning, see if you don't feel you can lick your weight in Wildcat. Here's the sound medical reason why Carter's Little Liver Pills are so effective. They can give you two-way relief for sluggishness, something you cannot expect from a simple laxative. First, Carter's Little Liver Pills wake up the flow of a vital digestive juice, and they start to do this usually within 30 minutes after taking. Second, they help restore regularity. It's this two-way relief that helps you feel better.
well, how are you feeling now? Have you had a chance to catch your breath, wipe the cold perspiration off your brows? Oh, what you've heard so far hasn't bothered you, huh? Wait. Just a moment later now, and the 3 men are still on the bridge. Standing at the wheel, Ross and Captain Bates staring at him incredulously. All right, Cherry, you're mad, Banning, out of your head.
So you still don't believe me, eh? Did the water turn into blood or not?
Of course it didn't. That's nonsense. It's just rust, corrosion in the tank.
And the fact that we're still in the same place you were yesterday after sailing for 24 hours?
Our figuring was just off, that's all. Dead reckoning's never completely accurate.
All right, Captain. That's the way you want it, fine. But I wonder what you're going to say when the men start disappearing.
Enough, Banning. Who else is on watch, Mr. Ross? Who's the lookout?
Ready, sir.
I'll go get him. Tell him to come up here and take Banning's place at the wheel.
Aye, sir. Ready, ahoy there! Hey!
Now, as for you, Banning, you'd better get back to your bunk and lie down. Yes, you're sick. Mr. Ross should never let you stand a watch.
Oh, I'm sick, am I? It's all my imagination. Okay, Captain. Let's say you're right about the water. Our position. What about the sea spray? What happened to my shipmates, the rest of the crew?
I don't know, and I can't worry about that right now. That's something for the Coast Guard to look into. But I'm not going to have you scaring the wits out of my crew. So if you say one more word about this to anyone...
All right, Captain. I won't. I've got a hunch I won't have to.
What do you mean?
Nothing except that...
But he's not there. He's gone.
Gone? Gone where?
I don't know. He reported here at 8 bells, went up to the bow to relieve Blake. That's the last anyone saw of him.
You dumped McGilly, the forecastle?
No, sir. He must have dropped off to sleep or something. Fallen overboard.
Fallen overboard. That's what we thought on the sea spray when Captain Bassett disappeared. But he didn't fall. He was dragged overboard by that thing.
Will you shut up, Fanning?
I won't shut up. What can I say to make you believe me? I said it was here on board this ship, and it's going to get the rest of us one by one unless... There's only one thing to do. Take to the boat. Step out to the ship and abandon it.
What? No, I know you're mad. Get up forward and stay there.
All right, Captain. I'll go. But remember, I warned you. Anything that happens from now on is on your conscience.
Six bells and all's well. Keep where she goes, Garson. South-southwest.
Aye, sir. South-southwest. Blasted fog. So thick as ever. Can't see a ship's length ahead.
No, sir. Begging your pardon, sir.
Yes?
Shouldn't we be off the banks out of the fog by now?
I know, Garson. We evidently made a mistake in our reckoning. According to the radio compass bearing we got this morning, we're still around the middle of the banks. Won't be clear until tomorrow.
I see, sir.
Oh, by the way, Garson, what are the men saying about Smitty disappearing that way?
Why, nothing, sir. Except...
Yes?
Well, sir, they can't understand how he could have fallen overboard with the sea so calm. And then there's this here business of the water turning funny. They're feeling kind of jumpy about that, too.
Yeah, well, what's that?
Looks like a small craft fishing boat. Bessie is off the starboard, sailing parallel to us. A schooner.
Who's up at the bows? Look out.
Blake, sir.
Well, what's the matter with him? Is he asleep? Why didn't he sing out when he saw her?
I don't know, sir.
Captain Bates. Captain Bates.
I thought I told you to stay below, Benny.
You did, but that's Schooner. Do you recognize her?
Recognize her? She does look familiar, but... Great Scott. It's the sea spray.
What? Can't be. We left it drifting a good 200 miles from here.
You only think you're it.
Besides, when we left her yesterday, she was deserted. But now, she just sounded a foghorn. There are men aboard her. You can see them.
Yes, men. But what kind of men? Look at them through your glass, Mr. Ross.
Just what I'm doing. Good Lord. Their faces. They're all green, bloated, swollen. Why, they look as if they were dead.
Look. They are dead. Drowned men come back out of the sea, sailing on and on through the fog, following us and waiting until...
One more word out of you, Banning, and I'll put you in irons. Give me that glass, Mr. Ross.
Too late, sir. Schooner is gone.
Well, come on aboard with me and let's see what's wrong with Blake.
Yes.
I'm coming, too. Me, too.
Now, what's that? Go on, watch, Garson. Stay at the wheel.
He'll stay on course. If anything has happened to Blake, I want to know it. And the rest of the crew will want to know it, too.
Well, all right, then. Come on.
I don't like this, sir. We may be in trouble if Garson won't take orders.
Yeah, I have a hunch we're all getting jumpy out of hand. It's all right. There's Blake leaning against the rail.
Blake? Look again.
It's not Blake. It's Smitty. And look at him, sir. He's dead. Springing wet and with seaweed in his hair. He was drowned, but he came back from the sea just like my mates on the sea spray.
Blast you, Banning.
I warned you, but you wouldn't listen. Now will you abandon ship, take to the boat?
Now, I've had enough of this. Enough of you and your warnings. Grab him, Garson, Mr. Ross.
I won't go through it again. I can't. Having one man after another go over the side track to his death. I'm doing it sooner or later. Banning, no! He went overboard. Wait, that's it. If he'd rather commit suicide than stay on board this ship, we're not going to stay either. Come on, men. The boat. We're abandoning ship.
What? You can't do that.
Who's going to stop us?
We are. Quick, Mr. Ross. The guns in my cabin.
Undigit. No, you don't. Stay, men. I'll take the bait here. Leave him there in the hatch. If this blasted ship means so much, we'll let him free on it. We'll take him to the boat.
Captain.
Captain Bates.
Oh, yeah. Why, what happened?
Don't you remember? The men, after banding jumped overboard, they went crazy.
Yes. I remember that. They swarmed all over us. Did they really go? Abandoned ship?
Every last man. We're all alone, just the two of us.
Help me up, will you, Mr. Ross? I'm still a little shaky.
Of course. There you are. They didn't take the life raft, sir. We could probably get one of them over the side and...
You mean you want to abandon ship, too?
Well, not exactly, but after all, the two of us couldn't get her into port.
Is that the reason, or is it because you're afraid? Because you're starting to believe in that thing from the sea also?
It's about half and half. I mean, well, after all, everything that's happened so far, finding the sea spray deserted, Smitty and Blake disappearing, then Smitty coming back, drowned.
Very well, Mr. Ross. I'll help you launch a life raft, and if you like, you can go. But I'm staying with my ship.
Well, in that case, I'll stay with you, sir.
Good man. I kind of thought you would.
What's our first move?
Up to the radio room. We'll send out an SOS. Ask for help.
Right, sir. Even if you do think there's some explanation for everything that's happened, the ship is kind of spooky now, isn't it? Fog. Everything's so quiet, dead, like... What's that?
Engine room telegraph. Someone rang for half speed ahead. Why, we're moving, getting underway.
But who? There's no one on board but the two of us.
Maybe one of the engineers didn't go. Stayed below.
No one stayed, I tell you. No one. There's just the two of us on board and...
Foghorn. Mr. Ross, I don't like this.
You don't like it,
Someone coming. They're heading for the bridge. Can you see who or what?
Yes. Banning. It can't be. He jumped overboard. He's dead. Yes, Smitty was dead, too, but he came back and...
Where are you going? I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I'm going to see if a corpse can fight back. Captain, wait, I... Look
out, Captain, he's got a gun. I've got it.
Well, oh, you're not dead, Banning. And it was you that was behind all this. I don't know what you mean. No, you listen to me, Banning. Two of my men have been killed. The rest of them are out there in that fog place. Either you talk, tell me what you were up to, how you did it, or I'll let you have it right between the eyes. You wouldn't dare. Oh, I wouldn't, eh? Give me that gun, Ross.
No, don't. All right, I'll tell you. It wasn't me that was behind it. It was Abnadine.
Abnadine?
Yes. He thought up this idea. Scaring a crew into abandoning ship, then picking it up and claiming salvage.
Salvage? Oh, of course. Why didn't I think of that?
But how did you work it? There wasn't anybody on the sea spray when I boarded her.
Of course not. As soon as we spotted you, Dean and the rest of the crew got into the dory, pulled away into the fog until after you searched the schooner. Meanwhile, I had two jobs to do. I came from the binnacle to throw your compass off so you'd sail in a circle and drop a chemical into the water tanks that would turn the water red.
And what about Smitty and Blake?
I killed him. I dropped Smitty's body over the side with a rope tied to it so I could haul it up again. Hit Blake when it came out.
Are you cold-blooded murdering?
Fog on it. It's the sea spray. They're cruising around waiting for me to pick them up. And there they are. Dead ahead.
To the wheelhouse, Ross. Hurry, we're heading straight for them. If we don't gear up, we'll hit them.
Please, run them down. Do you think?
Yes. I'm afraid so, Ben. The propellers must have got to those that didn't go down with the schooner. But maybe it's better that way. They say that drowning's easier than hanging, as you'll probably find out for yourself.
Yeah, what's that? You knew there was no such thing all the time? Of course you did. But just the same, if I were you, I wouldn't try to stand up just yet. With your knees knocking together like that, you might find it a bit difficult, huh? But I do hope you enjoyed tonight's story. That you'll be with us again next week at this same time. And if in the meantime you should happen to take an ocean trip, if while you're out you should run into heavy weather and while you're standing alone on the deck at night, something should reach out of the darkness and grab hold of you. But don't worry. It won't be the thing from the sea. It'll just be one of the other passengers trying to find his way to the rail. Oh, yes. If you haven't done so, be sure to read this month's Inner Sanctum Mystery, Footsteps Behind Her, by Mitchell Wilson.
Will you wake up tomorrow morning feeling chipper and spry? Or will you crawl out of bed with that sluggish, headachy, what's-the-use feeling due to irregularity? Well, try this. Just before you go to bed tonight, take 1 or 2 Carter's Little Liver Pills with a glass of water. Then see if tomorrow morning isn't rosy and bright. See if your usual pep and cheerfulness aren't back. There's a sound medical reason why Carter's bring you these remarkable results. Carter's Little Liver Pills provide two-way relief. Relief you cannot expect from a simple laxative alone. First, they wake up the flow of a vital digestive juice. And they start to do this usually within 30 minutes after taking. Second, they help restore regularity. It's this two-way relief that helps you feel better so fast and so differently.
Good night. Pleasant dreams, huh?
This is the Blue Network.
Hi, this is Randy Stone. I cover the night beat for the Chicago Star. Stories start in many different ways. This one began when I bumped into a wonderful legend out of the past and watched that legend die before my eyes.
Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone.
You know, I guess the one thing that makes a newspaper guy like me different from any other working stiff is that while a bookkeeper works with numbers, carpenter deals in wood, and the miner sweats over coal, a newspaper man, well, all he works with is people. What makes them laugh and dance in the street, what makes them cry in the night. But just the same, like most kinds of work, this has its occupational hazards, too. Being a newspaper man doesn't give you painter's colic or housemaid's knee. But sometimes it can sure do some lousy things to your heart. It was my night off. I had a date with a little blonde at the information desk. You know, the girl who tells you where to go after you tell her what you're looking for. I finally talked her into going dancing. I was supposed to pick her up at 9 o'clock. Only here it was 8:30, and I was still trying to find a flower shop to buy her a corsage. I'd walked to the edge of Skid Row when I finally spotted this place, a little florist shop in the center of a shabby office building. Looking through the window, I saw a gray-haired old lady pinning a boutonniere on the lapel of a chunky fellow in a shiny blue serge. As I came through the front door, the fellow spun around like he was expecting the worst.
Will you hold still so I can get this flower in place?
I'm sorry, Mrs. Dunlap. I'm expecting somebody. I thought maybe this fellow might be the one.
All right. Now, you just stay quiet. I'll be with you in a moment, sir.
All right, there's no hurry at all.
There now. Isn't that beautiful? My husband set it aside especially for you.
Tell your husband thanks. I don't know, no matter how punk I feel, if I get a fresh flower in my lapel, it picks me up better than a shot of raw gin. How much do I owe you?
50 cents.
Here you are.
Oh, I'll pick it up. You seem upset tonight. This person you're going to meet must be quite important.
Yeah, he sure is. He's the man who's going to put me out of my misery.
What?
Sure. Tell your husband next time I need a flower, he better make it a nice white lily. Goodbye.
That fella's sure upset.
Oh, poor Tom Paxton. I've seen him like this before. He's just had a wee bit too much to drink, I'm afraid.
Tom Paxton? No.
Huh?
The rose in his lapel used to be his trademark.
Oh, do you know Tom?
Well, if he's the same one, I was never that lucky. Best I could do was worship him from a distance.
Worship Tom?
Yeah, that sounds crazy, doesn't it? 10 years ago, when I was in college, Tom Paxton was the greatest football star we'd ever had. He was one of the greatest in the country. He was a legend.
Oh, well, it can't be the same man.
I don't know. Once you get over the shock, the resemblance is there, and that rose in the lapel. I don't know, lady, but I'm going to find out. I went out the side door of the florist shop into the lobby. And there was Tom standing in the dark, pushing the button for the elevator. As I came up to him, he spun around again like it was part of an act that he always did on cue.
Are you following me?
Well, yes.
You weren't just shopping for flowers there, were you?
Hmm?
If you're Dixie, all right. Don't play games with me. I'm tired of running away. I'm half bats. How much of it can I take?
Now, look, I'm Randy Stone. I heard the woman call you Tom Paxton. When I went to college, there was a Tom Paxton who was just about the greatest football player who ever lived.
What are you talking about? You got me mixed up with 3 other guys.
Well, this Tom Paxton was always sporting a flower in his lapel.
There's no law against that, is there? Now, go on. Get out of here. Let me alone.
While we were talking, the light over the button of the self-operating elevator flashed on. The elevator was coming down. Well, if Tom Paxton didn't want me to bother him, I couldn't twist his arm. I turned to leave just as the elevator doors opened. Only instead of Tom stepping in, somebody else stepped up.
I was waiting for you, Paxton.
You're Dixie, aren't you?
Come again?
Aren't you?
Sure, that's what I got this southern accent.
Now, listen
Come
to me.
on. Somebody wants to see you.
Why doesn't the syndicate give me a break? Why don't they give me a chance to pay up?
I said come on.
Now, wait a minute, Buster.
You ain't invited, sport. This is one of them small affairs. Paxton, this gun in my pocket, it ain't one of them gadgets you pull the trigger and a cigarette pops out. Come on.
Tom and the mug went out to a small black sedan parked at the curb. As the car raced down the street, I ran across the lobby into Dunlop's flower shop and called the police. When the squad car arrived, I told the boys what little I knew. We found Tom's office on the 4th floor. It told me more about his life since he left college than a 600-page biography. A battered couch, a filing cabinet with nothing filed away except a half-empty bottle of gin, and a beaten-up desk that gave up a couple of old racing forms. And then on the wall behind the desk, I saw something that really grabbed my heart. A picture of the college football team, with Tom right in front with a pigskin in his arms, smiling defiantly like nothing bad could ever happen to him. I hung around after the police left. The picture made me feel low. I wondered how many beatings you had to take to go from All-American to Skid Row to maybe the county morgue. Then the office door opened, and Tom was standing in the doorway. Only he looked different. He didn't seem to be so frightened anymore.
Well, I hear there were cops all over the place. What are you trying to do, get me some publicity?
Did Dixie give you a stay of execution?
No, that wasn't Dixie. Just one of Frank Burr's tough guys.
Burr, the big-shot Politico?
Yeah, that's right. Had a little assignment for yours truly.
Oh, yeah? How many times do you have to vote for him?
No, it's nothing like that. I'm going to conduct a little investigation. So you remembered the old halfback, huh?
I thought you didn't know what I was talking about.
Oh, well, I had a lot on my mind downstairs. Wasn't in any mood to chew the fat. Well, what are you doing these days?
I work on a newspaper.
Oh, is that so?
Oh.
Well, me, like you see, I went into the investigating game. It's not much of an office, but if big shots like Burr come to me, I guess it's not so bad, huh?
No, I guess not.
Say, this fella Dixie I mentioned, I don't want you to get any funny ideas about him. I just gambled a little over my head, like anybody does now and then. Well, I owe the syndicate a few $1,000, so they think they can scare me by putting their hatchet men on my trail. Only if you remember Tom Paxton, you know he don't scare so easy. Right?
That's right.
Now, that reminds me, I better call the boys right now and tell them I'll settle up at the end of the week. I don't want them losing any sleep on my account.
Well, I'll be going, Tom.
No, kid. Stick around. I'd like to talk to you, kid. About old times, eh?
All right, okay, Tom.
Hello, Jack. Hiya, kid. This is Tom Paxton. Say, look, baby, I got some good news for you. I'll be able to settle with you boys at the end of the week. Well, I know I have, but this time it's on the level. Well, now, wait a minute, Jack. Don't hang up on me. Well, now, give me a break, baby. 3 days?
Oh, but I can't do the job in 3 days. No, wait, please, don't hang up. Okay. 3 days. Only tell Dixie to lay off. Yeah. Thanks, Jack. Thanks a lot. 3 days. How am I going to find him in 3 days?
Tom, is there anything I can do?
What? Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's something you can do. You can clear out of here. So you found me out, huh? That make you feel good or something?
Oh, now, look.
Maybe if you'd taken the beatings I have, maybe if you'd been crossed up, stabbed in the back, slugged, cheated as many times as I have, you... Oh, what am I telling you for? Go on, get out of here.
Sure thing. So long, Tom.
No, wait a minute.
Yeah?
Look, you being a reporter, you could get into records I couldn't even touch, couldn't you?
Well, I think so.
Look, if I had a week, I could do it on my own, but I've got to find him in 3 days.
Who do you have to find in 3 days?
Look, Stone, I'm not going to kid with you anymore. I've got to make good on this job Burr gave me. I've got to get that fee. If I don't, this guy, Dixie, will...
Who is this guy, Dixie?
Well, that's what drives me nuts. Nobody knows, only the syndicate.
Well, why don't you go to the police?
No. Cops are out of my line. If I could clean this job up in 3 days, Burr will pay me $5,000, and I'll be all right. That's like I've always said. All you need in life is one good break. And after that, you can roll on your own.
Well, what about Burr?
Well, for a big shot, he's sure plenty scared. Says the newspaper's trying to destroy him.
Oh, so?
So the only way they can do it is to find somebody named John Durand.
I never heard of him.
Nobody, but not to Burr.
Well, what does Durand look like?
Well, Burr wouldn't know what he looks like today. He hasn't seen him for 25 years. I've only got one thing to go on.
Now, what's that?
John Durand is a blind man.
A big shot like Burr afraid of a helpless blind man?
Afraid? Burr's as frightened of that blind man, John Durand, as I am of my unknown pal, Dixie.
And now, back to Night Beat and Randy Stone.
Tom and I started work the next morning, right after he picked up a fresh, sweet-smelling rose from Mr. and Mrs. Dunlop's florist shop in the lobby. It's funny, but for Tom, a flower in his lapel was like a shot of Benzedrine. After that, we split up. I went down to the paper to have a talk with the political editor. Yes, everyone interested in clean government was trying to wash that Burr right out of their hair. But so far, nothing definite had turned up against him. Only a funny blank space in Burr's biography, a blank space that happened 25 years ago. And I got that ever-loving jackpot feeling. 25 years ago, that's when John Durand, the blind man, entered the picture. Tom and I had to find that blind man, and we had 3 days.
Randy, I'm calling from City Hall. I've checked all the city directories. No John Durand.
Oh, that's great. I visited every agency that helps the blind. Nobody's ever heard of him.
Well, what are we going to do, Randy?
What else can we do? We keep looking. He's not on any credit report. His name's never appeared on any police blotter.
Well, we're running out of time.
Well, nothing to do but keep looking.
I've been going through the records over at the county building. I can't find a trace.
We've got only 1 day left, Randy. The syndicate gave me till midnight tomorrow. What are we going to do?
What we've been doing right along. Keep looking.
The third day, we started making the rounds of all the hoodlum hangouts, the bars, the pool halls, the mangy little side street flop houses. I took one section of the city, and Tom took the other. And late that night in one of those flop houses, I got the shock of my sweet life.
No, nobody named John Durand ever stopped here.
Well, I thought he might have stayed here under a phony name. He's a blind guy.
Yeah, I know all about him, mister.
You what?
What did this poor sucker do anyhow? Every hoodlum I know is looking for him.
What are you talking about?
Just what I said. Every guy in town who'll cut a throat to earn a buck is looking for John Durand.
It was after 9 p.m. when I got back to Tom's office to break the news to him. Poor guy, he thought Burr had given him an exclusive assignment. And all the time, Burr had set up a private manhunt. He'd unleashed every mad dog in town to track down John Durand. When I got to the office, the door was open, but Tom wasn't around. I sat down to wait for him, and the phone started ringing. Hello?
I'd like to speak to Mr. Paxton.
Well, he's not around right now. Any message?
Yes, this is Frank Burr calling.
Oh, yes.
You can tell Mr. Paxton that he can stop his search for John Durand as of now.
Does that mean you found him?
Oh, you know about it, eh?
Oh, yes, I'm helping Paxton. Did you find Durand?
No. But I know where I can find him when I want to.
I see. But then I guess that winds things up.
Yes. Tell Mr. Paxton, will you please?
Yeah, I'll look, as long as it's all over with. Why have you been so anxious to catch Durand? After all, he's only a blind man, and I... Mm-hmm. I'll ask a silly question. You get a silly answer. I had just hung up the phone thinking, poor Tom, now there's no way out for him. His 3 days were just about all washed up. Now there was nobody left but his friend Dixie. And then, like I'd said a magic word or something, the door to Tom's office started slowly opening. Tom came in leading a little old guy with smoked glasses and a white cane. Tom, you found him. You found Durand.
I should be so lucky. No, this is Mr. Graham, one of the directors of the Institute for the Blind.
Hello.
How do you do?
I'm going batty, banging my head against walls. I figured maybe Mr. Graham might give us a lead. Oh, Mr. Graham, this is Randy Stone.
How do you do, sir? I hope I can be of service.
Oh, thank you, but I'm afraid it's too late, Mr. Graham.
Too late? What do you mean?
Oh, Bird just called. He's found Durand. You can forget that $5,000 fee. You're, fired.
And Dixie comes into the picture again. The syndicate gave me only until tonight.
Yeah, excuse me while I make a call.
Who are you calling?
About 2,000 cops.
Hang up the phone, Randy.
What are you talking about? You need them now.
Hang it up.
Don't be nuts.
All right, I'll hang it up for you.
Now, what's that for?
Calling the cops. Big deal. Maybe it would delay my trip to the morgue, but if that's the best I can get, it's no soap.
The cops would protect you?
Sure, for a week, 2 weeks, maybe even a month. But then what? Dixie'd still be waiting. He's never missed an appointment.
They'd pick him up before he reached you. There's a couple of small laws about killing people.
How would they pick him up? They wouldn't even know who to look for.
Gentlemen, I seem to be intruding. If one of you will lead me to the elevator,
Oh. You lead him, Randy. Then you get on the elevator right with him. Thanks for the try.
Oh, now, wait a minute.
Beat it, will you? I'm expecting a guest.
Mr. Graham, before we leave, for my own amazement, I want to ask you something.
Yes?
Can you think of any reason why a powerful man like Burr should be afraid of a helpless blind man?
Well, of course, that's hard to say.
Randy, will you get out of here, the both of you?
Unless, of course, the man saw something just before he went blind that would incriminate Mr. Burr.
Hmm?
Yes. You see, the blind never forget the last thing they see before they go blind. It stays alive in their mind until the moment they die.
Well, then, if Durand had been a witness to a crime Burr committed and then went blind...
That would indeed make him the greatest possible menace to Burr.
Well, then that's it.
Hooray for our side. A lot of good it does me now.
I can tell you how it was when I went blind. It happened quite suddenly, as the doctor said it would. I was out in the country with my family. Wildflowers everywhere. And now that my blindness has made me so overly sensitive to the lovely scent of flowers, the picture is even more real. You know, it's a strange thing about flowers.
The blind man kept talking softly, more to himself than to us. Tom had spun his swivel chair around so that he was looking out of the window. The back of his shirt collar was soaking wet. I knew the pressure was building up inside him like steam in a boiler. Absently, he'd been taking the ever-present flower from his lapel, and he was tearing it apart with nervous fingers. And then Tom's back stiffened. He was staring through the window down at the dark street. I looked over his shoulder. A big car had stopped a short way down the street. A heavy-set, well-dressed man had stepped out. As he passed under the street lamp in front of the flower shop, I recognized him from his pictures.
Burr. It's Frank Burr.
Tom's voice sounded cockeyed. I looked at him. His face was falling to pieces like an overripe melon. He was looking at the flower he'd taken from his lapel.
Mrs. Dunlop, she won't like what I'm doing to her flower. Always so proud because her husband could select sweet-scented flowers. Graham, what did you say before? Now that my blindness has made me sensitive to the scent of flowers.
Yes, I see.
Mr. Dunlop, the florist.
I never had a good look at him. He was always puttering around and back.
You think?
I know. John Durand was always just downstairs in the lobby. And there's still time for me, Randy. There's still time.
Tom raced for the door of his office. He pulled a gun out of his coat. I followed him. He went to the elevator, pressed the button a couple of times, and then decided to take the stairs instead. He looked back at me, chasing after him, and waved me back. He started down the stairs 2 at a time. I caught up with him at the second landing. I grabbed his shoulders. He tried to tear himself away.
Let me go, Randy. Let me go.
What do you mean there's still time? What are you going to do down there?
Randy, I'm telling you to let me go.
Answer me. What are you going to do?
Sure, I'll answer you, overboy. What do you think Burr was going to pay me $5,000 for? Just to give him Duran's address so he could send him nasty letters? No, there was one other little item I didn't tell you about. I not only had to find Durand, I had to make sure nobody else found him. I had to kill him.
Oh, Tom, you're kidding. A helpless blind man?
Oh, Burr thinks I'm the man for the job. He told me I was the ideal choice.
Tom, you're not that kind of a man.
Who says so? You think this is still the old football team with a lot of nice rules so nobody gets hurt too bad? This is a jungle, Rover Boy. It's dog eat dog all the way down the line. Now let me go.
No.
I said let me go.
He broke away and took off the stairs again. But Tom had put on a lot of fat since college days, and walking the night beat had kept me lean. I caught up with him just as we reached the lobby.
Randy, I'm telling you to lay off of me. Now leave me alone.
You're going to listen to reason.
All you need is one good break. Well, this is mine, and I'm going to take it. Now let me go.
You're crazy. I can't let you do it.
You'll have to let me do it, Randy. You're just going to have to let me do it.
Tom brought the gun barrel down on my head. My knees turned to ginger beer. I reached for the wall to keep from falling, but the wall fell right with me. I tried to cry out, but all I could manage was a wheeze. Helplessly, I watched Tom, with the gun still in his hand, go through the lobby entrance into the florist shop.
Oh, Tom. What on earth are you doing with that gun?
At that moment, the front door opened, too, and Mr. Burr came into the shop, also carrying a gun.
Don't do that.
What a spot for a chorus of Auld Lang Syne.
What's going on? Mr. Paxton, what is this?
Is the job still mine?
A smug little smile crossed Burr's face as he put his own gun away.
Sure, why not, Paxton? A deal's a deal. He's in fact working on his flowers. But it'll have to be her, too.
Oh.
Okay.
No! Please! Tom!
Tom raised his gun as old lady Duran started running for her husband. And then Tom seemed to hesitate, like something was going through his mind.
Go on. What are you waiting for?
Maybe Tom was thinking about his last 10 years on Skid Row when he'd never done one decent thing, and maybe he thought it was time to start.
Go ahead and get it over with, Paxton.
Suddenly, Tom swung the gun away from the cowering Durans and began shooting. There wasn't even time for that smug smile to leave Burr's face as Burr slowly crumbled to the floor. After that, everything started getting foggy for me. By the time the police arrived and splashed cold water on my face, Tom had gotten away, disappeared into the night. Burr was dead, and now John Durand wasn't afraid to talk. 25 years before, Burr had been a punk in the rackets. There'd been a bombing. One man killed, John Durand blinded. And the picture Durand carried in his mind, the last thing he saw before the lights went out forever, was Burr throwing that bomb. After that, Durand was afraid Burr had tried to finish the job, so he changed his name and went into hiding. I told the cops about the gambling syndicate that had been hounding Tom, and they went after the boys. And all in all, it was quite an evening. Then around 3:30 in the morning, while I was sitting up in my office trying to bat out my night beat story, my telephone started ringing. Yeah.
Randy, this is Tom.
Tom, hey, where are you?
Never mind, I'm okay. I just wanted to let you know you were pretty good to me, kid.
Listen, every cop in the city's looking for you.
Well, they can look until Christmas. It won't do them any good. I've got a hideout that they couldn't find with radar.
How come?
It's like I've always said, all you need is one good break. I got mine right out of a clear blue sky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, real square. Met him at a bar. Didn't know where to turn. This guy buys me a drink. Says I look like I could stand a good meal and a place to sleep. He thinks I just blew into town and I'm down and out. Now he says I can stay here as long as I like. He's in the next room, so I gotta make this call short.
Tom, I tell you, you're crazy for hiding out. The police will give you a break.
Now, says who?
I'm telling you they will.
And even if they did, what about the syndicate? What about Dixie?
There isn't any more syndicate. Most of those hoodlums are already sitting in jail.
What? Dixie, too?
No, but they'll have him soon enough. Now they've got a description of him. They know who to look for.
Look, I gotta hang up. This guy's liable to pop in any second, but just for the records, what does Dixie look like?
He's an ordinary fella. He wears glasses, even. He's got gray hair. Looks more like an insurance man than a hoodlum.
Dixie looks like that.
The only two distinguishing marks, according to the police, is that thumb is missing from his left hand.
Randy, has he got a white scar under his eye?
How did you know that?
Look, Randy, the guy that took me to this hideout, the guy that gave me the break, he
What? Where are you? Quick, tell me.
Oh, he's coming, Randy.
Tom.
No. No. No.
Tom. Tom. Operator. 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 Yeah. Like Tom always said, all you need is one good break. Tomorrow? Sure, a nice, pleasant morrow coming right up. Well, maybe not so pleasant. Tom had been dead a long time before Dixie caught up with him. Tom had died when he found out he wasn't always going to be a hero, the guy on top of the heap. What is there about people that they've got to be number one or they won't play? What's so bad about being number 2 or number 3? Why does life have to be one great victory after another? What's so fancy about us that we can't afford to fall on our face every so often? The fellow who said, God, give me the strength to fail, really had something. And besides, not making the top of the heap has its compensations, too. It's a lot less lonely down here among us also, Rand. Copy, boy.
Night Beat, a dramatic series, stars Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone.
Night Beat is distributed exclusively by Nostalgia Broadcasting Corporation, Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
The world's great novels. Tonight, the NBC University of the Air presents the first of 4 episodes in its dramatization of Fyodor Dostoevsky's greatest portrait of life, The Brothers Karamazov, another in its series of books that live, the world's great novels.
The monastery lay a quarter of a mile outside the town, and beyond it was the hermitage, a lowly 2-room cell. This, for many years, had been the home of the great elder, Father Zosima, the holy man to whom so many turn for guidance. On the day that our story begins, a young man wearing the long, dark gown of a novice monk is walking slowly back and forth along the portico outside the hermitage. Preoccupied, he does not hear the click of military boots on the flagstone path. He looks up startled as a tall, dark, uniformed man stops beside him.
Alexei.
Dmitri. You startled me.
Yes, I can see that. But why? You were expecting me, weren't you? This is the day for our great family meeting with your elder Zosima.
Yes. Yes, this is the day.
Come, then. From the look on your face, one would think you'd just seen a miracle.
That's just it, brother. I have seen a miracle.
One of your precious elder's little tricks, I suppose.
Oh, don't talk like that, Dmitri. If only you could have seen... Brother, there was a peasant woman. She was ill with a fever and delirium. They brought her to Father Zosima this morning. He blessed her, and she was healed completely. Oh, Dmitri, Father Zosima is the greatest, the holiest man alive.
Come down to earth, Alexei. Who ever heard of a Karamazov daydreaming over such stuff?
Oh, Dmitri,
Listen, Alexei. There's a favor you can do for me. Meet me later today in the garden in back of Father's house, and I'll tell you all about it.
But why in the garden? Why not...
In the house? I am not welcome there, and I don't want to be.
All right, brother. But now there's a favor you can do for me.
Huh? What's that?
Will you try not to lose your temper today? I don't want Father Zosima to be offended.
I'll do my best. But I can't answer for myself if our dear father starts his lying and ranting as usual.
This meeting was Father's idea.
So you think he's in good faith, eh? You know he's only looking for a chance to play the buffoon and to trap me. If he really wanted this thing settled,
He could pay me the money he's cheated me out of without coming to Father Zosima. And to talk it over there.
Dmitri, nothing like that in front of Father Zosima, please.
All right. Alexei, how did you happen to turn into a monk anyway?
I don't know, brother. It seemed to be something I had to do. With so much darkness in the world, this was where I found the light.
You're looking for answers, then. Ivan is looking for them, too. But not in your way.
Yes, Ivan. It's an odd thing, Dmitri, but I seem to know you so much better. Even though Ivan is my real brother and you're only my half-brother.
Thank you for that, Alexei. Because I love you better than anyone in the world. This is too bad of Ivan and Father. Where can they be? What the deuce can be keeping them so long?
Seated in a carriage on the way to the monastery, Fyodor Pavlovich Karamazov. The insolent little eyes in the vicious, bloated face dart continually from the window to his companion, his third son.
Ivan, how much farther is it? Aren't we getting close?
We're almost there. Why didn't you start on time?
Oh, well, no matter. This monk should be glad to see me. I've just given the monastery 1,000 rubles to pray for the souls of my 2 wives. Good enough for them, huh?
You'd have done better to treat them decently while they were alive, instead of keeping a disorderly house with your drinking and your low women.
Ivan, you talk like that to me, your poor old father.
You're not poor from giving too much to your sons. Why, you never looked at me or Dmitri or Alexei either, from the day we were born.
Ivan.
And if it hadn't been for Grigory, a mere servant, and the relations who saw to our education, what would have happened to us?
My son...
Oh, you're no father. You're a drunken old fake.
Ivan! Alexei doesn't abuse me like that.
Alexei is a monk. He thinks it's not right to pass judgment.
Oh, you, with your learning and your atheistic ideas. At least the monks are honest. Some of them.
And I'm not honest, I suppose.
Well, I know something you'd like to steal. You've got your eye on Dmitri's beautiful fiancée.
Why?
And 60,000 rubles.
You old liar. Katerina Ivanovna's an honorable girl, and I'll have none of your filthy talk about her.
Inside the hermitage, Father Zosima made a sign for Alexei to stand at his side, and for the others to sit down on a row of shabby chairs against the wall. The small, faded room had a look of hardware, like Father Zosima himself, though his eyes were bright and his lips smiled frequently. Alexei watched his father and was ashamed. His fears were coming true.
You are welcome here, gentlemen.
Oh, thank you, Sacred Elder. You must forgive us for being late. You will forgive us, Blessed Father.
There's nothing to forgive.
Oh, you're too kind. I try to be punctual. After all, punctuality is the courtesy of kings, is it not?
You're scarcely a king, Father.
Listen to him. I'm not a king. Don't you think I know that, Ivan? Oh, I'm saying the wrong thing. I always do. But believe me, Your Reverence, I only do it to make people laugh. Great Elder, say you're not annoyed with me.
Please don't distress yourself. And stop being ashamed.
You hear, Ivan, you hear? Father Zosima understands me. Father Zosima, look, I'll even go down on my knees. Tell me how to be good. Tell me how to find eternal life.
Get up, Fyodor Pavlovich. This is all sham and pretending.
Oh, I can't stand any more of this. Get up off your knees, Father. What right have you to pray?
Dmitri, you promised me...
I can't help what I promised. This whole thing's a farce.
A farce? And whose fault is that? Oh, Holy Elder, I want justice. My son Dmitri is a robber.
You cheated me out of my mother's estate.
I owe you nothing. Oh, I know why you want money. I know. Listen, Holy Father, this robber, my son, he's betrothed to a good, honorable girl, Katerina Ivanovna, and what does he do?
I warn you, no more.
He runs after the enchantress Grushenka. Yes, she's the one he wants. He wants money to get her.
Why, you shameless hypocrite.
Yes.
This enchantress you speak of, Grushenka, You're jealous of me because you want it for yourself.
Dimitri, this is shameful.
It is, Alexei. Oh, why is this man alive? Why is he allowed to defile the earth?
Kill me, then. Parricide! Ah, you hear, Sacred Elder? He wants to kill his own father.
God have mercy on you, Karamazov. God bring peace to your heart. Dmitri Fyodorovich, let me bow down before you.
Oh, Reverend Father, no, you must not do this.
I bow down to you, Dmitri, to the suffering in store for you.
Lie down here, Father Zosima. Lie down on the bed. Oh, you're ill. They've made you ill.
You must pray for your brother, Alexei. There will be sorrow in your house.
Forgive Dmitri, dear Father.
Forgive? I knelt at his feet that he might forgive me, that I cannot bear his suffering for him. Oh, Alexei, the sins of the fathers are visited upon the sons, and I pray God they may not touch you. For Dmitri, I understand him. He is good, he is honest, but he is passionate, and from his passion comes his torment.
But what have he done?
He has a black heart, Alexei. He will destroy himself. He believes not in man, nor in God, nor in himself. And in that way of life, there is death. Go now, my Alexei. Go to your father's house.
Let me stay here with you.
You are more needed there. And remember, my son, this is not the place for you. When it is God's will to call me, leave the monastery. Live in the world. Work unceasingly. And remember my words, for my hours are numbered.
No, dear Father, no.
Do not cry. Rejoice and pray for me. Now go. Be near your brothers, or there will be tragedy in your house. Go, dear son.
Alexei's heart was heavy with anxiety as he left the dim cell and came out into the sunlight. He hurried toward the big Karamazov house where Ivan and his father lived alone. As Alexei reached the garden of his father's house, he heard Dmitri calling to him.
Alexei?
Dmitri?
In here, Alexei. In the summer house. Good boy. I thought you'd forgotten to come.
I got here as fast as I could. Why are you hiding in here?
I'm watching for someone. Alexei, I want you to go and see Katerina Ivanovna for me.
Katerina Ivanovna?
Yes. And tell her I can never see her again.
Dmitri, has it anything to do with that woman?
Grushenka? So you're ashamed to mention her name. And I should be even more ashamed. She's ruined me, Alexei. And yet I can't get away. I don't want to get away. When I was in the regiment, I led a wild life, Alexei. I loved wickedness. And yet, everyone liked me. I was a hero in the little town. They thought I had money.
And that was when you met Katerina?
She was the colonel's beautiful daughter, the belle of the town. And she wouldn't speak to me. She wouldn't even notice me. And for that, I wanted my revenge. I paid her back, Alexei. I took the pride out of her. I made her come crawling to me for money when her father was sorting his accounts with the government. The inspectors were coming to town. They'd have caught him. She came to me late one afternoon and asked me for the money. She was terribly frightened. I let her stand there, and I looked at her. Then I took out a note for 5,000 rubles. I folded it up very carefully and handed it to her without a word. She turned as white as a sheet. And then she ran away. I started singing for joy.
But when were you betrothed?
Not right away. She went to Moscow and sent back the money with a letter, saying she loved me and wanted to be my wife. And then I did a really stupid thing. I sent Ivan to see her.
What was so stupid about that?
You don't know that Ivan is in love with her? And how can she love me when she looks at him?
But she must love you. She asked you to marry her.
She's giving me her life out of gratitude. Don't I know she's 1,000,000 times better than I am? I'll drown in the back alley and she'll marry Ivan. Go to her, Alexei. Tell her.
What do you want me to say?
Say I'm never going to see her again. Tell her I sent her my compliments.
But where are you going?
To the back alley, little brother.
To Grushenka.
I can't help it, Alexei. I'm plague-stricken, I tell you. I've given up everything for Grushenka. My honor. Everything.
There's more, then?
Yes, there's more. Katerina gave me 3,000 rubles to send to her sister in Moscow. And what did I do with the money? I took it, and I drove to the next town with Grushenka. I spent it on a banquet. I'm a thief, you hear? But I don't care. I'm going to Grushenka. I'm going to marry her if she'll have me.
Katerina will forgive you. Ivan and I will give you the money, and you can pay her back.
And when would I pay you back?
Why don't you ask Father for 3,000?
Would he give me money to help me marry Grushenka when he wants her for himself?
But he's an old man.
He's an old satyr. He'd do anything to get her. Why, he's got 3,000 rubles in his room right now in a big envelope. And he wrote on it, for my angel Grushenka when she will come to me.
How do you know it's there?
Smedyakov told me. He's the only person the old fool trusts. So now Father's hoping Grushenka will come for the money. That's why I'm watching here. To keep her away from him.
Do you think she'll be here today?
I don't know. I'm taking no chances. Smedyakov going to let me know if he sees her coming. I'll stop her, Alexei. I've got to.
But Father will see her, too. What if he...
If there's an if, Alexei, it will be murder. I'll kill him.
Brother, what are you saying?
Oh, I don't know. I'm afraid at that moment I may loathe him so much I won't be able to endure it.
As Alexei and Dmitri sat talking in the summer house, Fyodor Pavlovich, in his large, old-fashioned drawing room, was finishing his dinner, attended, as always, by the aged Grigory and the dark-faced, contemplative lackey, Smedyakov. He was starting on his brandy and was in great good spirits, so he listened with delight to Grigory telling a story he had heard that day in the village.
And this honorable soldier refused to give up his faith. He was tortured by the heathens and died, glorifying the name of the Lord.
Wonderful, Grigory, wonderful. They ought to make a saint out of him. They'd make a lot of money out of his bones.
You're making fun of me, Fyodor Pavlovich.
Fun? Yes, I'll make fun if I please. Look, even Smedyakov is grinning. What do you think of it, my Balaam's ass?
I think he should have given up his faith and saved his life. There's no sin in that.
Why isn't it a sin, you rascal? For that you'll go to the devil and roast like a mutton.
Well, I've roasted many a mutton in my time. Done about as fair, as they say.
Fyodor, you ought to be whipped.
Don't scold him, Grigory. Oh, you're in a bad temper. Why don't you go to bed?
As you please, Fyodor Pavlovich. But I still believe...
Never mind what you still believe, will you?
Famous rascal. Nothing to do but...
Go. He's gone. Now, tell me, Smedyakov, you saw my Grushenka. You told her about the present I have for her, the 3,000 rubles, huh?
I told her, Fyodor Pavlovich.
Huh?
She seemed interested.
She'll come then, will she, my angel? When will she come? Will it be today?
Oh, that I could not say. But I'm quite sure she'll be here.
Good boy. You shall have a gold piece. Oh, now there's Ivan. How am I going to get rid of him if she comes? I won't. Where is Ivan, by the way?
Ivan Fedorovich is in his room. He's packing his clothes.
Packing? Ah, then he'll go, after all. He'll go to Chemashnya to sell my land. I'll make 8,000 rubles.
And Grushenka can come while he's gone.
Perfect! Everything's perfect. Quiet, I'm coming.
Well, Father, I see you're at the brandy as usual.
Glass or two, Ivan. It does me good. Ivan, Smerdyakov tells me you've been packing. Is that right?
Smerdyakov talks too much, as always.
But you will go. You'll go to Chemashnya to sell the land.
I haven't said so. I may go to Moscow.
Oh.
Or I may not go at all.
Oh, what have I done to be cursed with such undutiful sons?
Don't be cross with Ivan, Father. Leave him alone.
There's my good boy, my Alexei. Come in, boy. Come in. Sit down. Oh, you should have been here a while ago, Alexei. We were on your subject. We were talking about a man who saved his soul. Ivan, you know everything. Tell me. Is there a God?
There is no God.
Alexei, is there a God?
There is a God.
Oh, you two can't agree. Well, Ivan, is there immortality?
No immortality either.
Ah, then if there's no immortality, there is no good and no evil, eh?
There is no good and no evil. There is nothing.
Brother, how can you talk this way?
Let him talk, Alexei. Perhaps he's right. There is nothing. Nothing but liquor and money. And women.
And you've had too much of the liquor.
Liquor and money and women. Especially women.
Father, you're drunk.
I'm drunk? I'm drunk. Women, did I ever tell you? Did I ever tell you about the idiot girl, Lizaveta Smerdyakov? Huh?
Father! Smerdyakov, you may go.
At once, Ivan Fedorovich. At once.
Huh? What's the matter? What did I say?
Oh, I didn't know you were so stupid.
Oh, yes, you despise me. Alexei, you must not love Ivan. You're a good boy, Alexei. You're my good boy.
What is that? What's happening?
Where is he?
Dimitri!
Where is Grushenka, you old fool?
Dimitri, he'll kill me. Ivan, don't let him get at me.
Smerdyakov, why did you let him in?
I tried to keep him out. I tried.
He's here somewhere.
No.
Smerdyakov told me.
No.
Where is he? Tell me! Tell me!
Save me! Save me!
There's how much will save you there!
Madman, you killed him!
Serve him right. If I haven't killed him, I'll come again and kill him. You can't stop me.
Dimitri, will you get out of here?
Oh, Alex, you tell me. Was she here or not?
I swear she's not been here. No one expected her.
All right. Don't say anything about the money, Alexei. Just go to Katerina. Compliments and farewell. Remember, I've got to find Grushenka.
Father, here. Pick him up.
Smerdyakov.
Yes, I'm here.
What was Dmitri talking about? What did you tell him?
I told him nothing. He came in, but I didn't speak to him. He was lying.
Oh, stop mumbling, you old lunatic. Smerdyakov, get him to bed.
Come along with me, Fyodor Pavlovich. Come along.
If I hadn't pulled Dmitri off, well, it wouldn't take too much to do for the old man, would it?
Heaven forbid.
Why should heaven forbid? Serve them both right. Oh, don't worry. I won't let him be murdered. Why don't you stay and keep watch with me?
I've got to go to Katerina Ivanovna. I promised Dmitri.
For that compliments and farewell? Dmitri has asked you to go and say that he takes his leave of her?
Yes, brother. How will this end?
Who knows?
Dejected in spirit, almost afraid to think of the day's events, Alexei left his father's house and turned toward the high street where Katerina Ivanovna lived. When he was shown into Katerina's drawing room, he saw that he had interrupted visitors, for there were empty teacups on the table. In a moment, Katerina Ivanovna came in.
At last you are here, Alexei. I've been praying for you to come all day. Sit down, please.
I've come to... He sent me.
I knew he would. What did he say?
He told me to give you his compliments and to say he would never come again.
His compliments? He used that word?
Yes.
Then he was excited. He hadn't made up his mind.
Well, that might be it.
Then I can still save him. But tell me, did he say anything about money? About 3,000 rubles?
He said he was a thief, that he'd lost his honor.
But that's not true. I'm his friend. Oh, Alexei, why is he ashamed to be open with me?
It's because of that woman, that Grushenka.
But I can forgive that.
He wants to marry her.
He won't, because she won't marry him. That girl is an angel. Do you know that?
Oh.
You don't believe me, but I'll show you. Grushenka, my angel, come in here. You called me angel, lady. This is a friend, Grushenka. This is Alexei. I have waited a long time to meet Alexei. Oh, see, Alexei, isn't she lovely?
I didn't realize that you knew each other.
This is the first time we've met. I wanted to know her. And when I sent for her, she flew here like an angel and brought us peace and joy.
You're too kind to me, dearest young lady. I'm not worthy.
Not worthy. Oh, people are so wrong about her. Only think of it. She loved a man 5 years ago. She sacrificed everything to him and he deserted her. But now he's coming back and Grushenka will be happy again. Oh, Angel, give me your hand. Let me kiss it. There, again.
You don't understand me, dear lady. I have a willful heart. I assassinated your Dmitri only for fun.
But now you'll save him. You gave me your word. You'll go back to that other man.
Oh, no, I didn't give my word. I may go back to Dmitri. You see, I'm so changeable.
But you said something quite different. I never expected...
Ah, young lady, and do you still like me so much? Give me your hand. I'll kiss it, as you did mine.
Why do you only hold my hand like that?
You know, perhaps after all, I won't kiss your hand.
As you please. But why not?
So that you may be left to remember that you kissed my hand, but I didn't kiss yours.
Oh, insolent creature.
And I shall tell Dmitri, and how he will laugh.
Oh, you vile woman. You're a creature for sale.
For shame, young lady. For sale, indeed. You visited Dmitri for money. You took money from Dmitri once. He told me.
I'll kill you.
Katerina, not a word. She'll go away.
Let me go, Alexei. Let me beat her. Dmitri told her. Oh, goody. What's the matter now?
So she wouldn't kiss her hand, eh, Alexei? Oh, that's her all over.
Don't laugh, Dmitri. It was terrible.
That she-devil. She's magnificent.
But Katerina...
Oh, I see right through her. She thought she could bewitch Grushenka, did she?
But, brother, think how you've insulted Katerina. Grushenka flung it in her face.
Ah, you're right, Alexei. I am a scoundrel. Come, that's enough. You go your way and I mine. I don't want to see you again.
Not see me?
No. But, wait a minute. One more confession. To you alone. Look at me, little brother. Look at me well. Here. Here on my breast. There's terrible disgrace in store for me. The greatest dishonor of all.
What is it?
Never mind. Only listen. I can stop this disgrace. I can get my honor back tomorrow. Only I'm not going to do it. It's the back alley and the she-devil for me, little brother. And don't pray for me. I'm not worth it. Goodbye, Alex.
And Alexei lay that night on his cot in the monastery, wondering in his heart why Father Zosima had bade him go forth from the peace of that holy place. For in the interweaving lives of his family, of the world outside, there was confusion and darkness in which one lost the way.
The Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky is one of the world's great novels, brought to you each week by the NBC University of the Air. Listen next week to the second episode of The Brothers Karamazov, and remember that this and countless other great books are to be had in your local public library. To enhance your enjoyment of these broadcasts, NBC offers you Herbert Gorman's Handbook of the World's Great Novels. Just send 25 cents with your request to World's Great Novels, Post Office Box 30, Station J, New York 27, New York. That's World's Great Novels, Post Office Box 30, Station J, New York 27. The Brothers Karamazov was adapted for radio by Clarence A. Ross. The music was composed by Emil Soderstrom, and the orchestra directed by Bernard Berquist. The entire production was under the direction of Homer Heck. Grushenka was played by Patricia Dunlap, Katharina by Jean Murray, Dostoevsky by Donald Gallagher, Alexei by Charles Flynn, Ivan by Larry Alexander, Dmitri by Boris Atlan, Fyodor Pavlovich by Sherman Marks, Father Zosima by Arthur Peterson, Schmerchikov by Cliff Norton, and Grigory by Philip Lord. And this is Dave Garraway. The program came to you from Chicago and has been a presentation of the National Broadcasting Company and its independent affiliated stations.
The world's great novels. Tonight, the NBC University of the Air presents the second of 4 episodes in its dramatization of Fyodor Dostoevsky's masterpiece, The Brothers Karamazov, another in its series of books that live, the world's great novels. Alexei Karamazov, the young and gentle novice monk, feels himself powerless to avert the terrible conflict growing in the lives of his brothers, Ivan and Dmitri, and their selfish and vicious old father. He feels the gathering force of tragedy in his family and faces yet another great sorrow in the approaching death of his beloved teacher, the elder of the monastery, Father Zosima. Thus, his loyalty is divided as Dostoevsky takes up the thread of our story.
Alexei rose from his cot in the monastery before daybreak. He thought immediately of his brother Dmitri's strange farewell to him the night before, and of the terrible disgrace Dmitri had hinted at and refused to explain. He resolved to look for Dmitri at once and to solve the mystery. But first, he approached a venerable monk, the friend and confidant of Father Zosima.
Father Paisi, how is Father Zosima?
He is worse, my dear boy. He is very weak.
When, Father? How long?
When it is God's will. But he may not live through the day. Go to him, Alexei. He needs you.
Yes, I will go.
Come closer, Alexei. It seems dark. I can see you.
Father Zosima.
No tears, my dear son. Tell me, are your people expecting you? Do they need you?
I promised myself I'd see them today. But now I don't want to leave you.
But you must go, Alexei. You shall be here when I die. I will say my last words to you. That will be my last gift to you, because you love me. Go now, my son. Go and keep your promise.
Alexei obeyed, happy with the elder's promise that he should hear his last word on earth. He hurried toward his father's house, anxious to finish what he had to do and return quickly. He found the old man sitting alone over his breakfast, the brandy bottle already on the table.
What are you doing here, Alexei?
I just came to find out how you're feeling.
Don't trouble yourself. You'd do better to go after your brother Ivan.
Why? Where's he gone?
Why, to Katerina Ivanovna, of course. He still thinks he's going to get her for himself, his brother's fiancée.
He didn't tell you so.
He didn't. What do you think he's doing around here? He didn't come to murder me like Dmitri. He doesn't ask for money. He must have come for something.
Oh, you're still in a bad mood from yesterday.
You'd be in a bad mood, too. I ought to have that ruffian Dmitri locked up. A man can't beat up his old father. The law's got something to say about that.
You wouldn't put Dmitri in prison. He's your own son.
Wouldn't I? But, Alexei, if I sent him to prison, Grushenka would feel sorry for him. This way, she'll feel sorry for me because he beat me. Your father's a clever man, Alexei. A very clever man. I'll marry Grushenka, and I'll crush Dmitri.
Don't talk like that.
I'll crush him, I will, like a beetle. You'll never get Grushenka. And you can go and tell Ivan to leave Katerina alone. Let her look out for Dmitri. Let her keep him away from my Grushenka. Now, get out. Get out. Go to Katerina's and find out what's going on. Yes. Alexei, and come back and tell me. You hear?
Goodbye, Father. God be with you.
God be with me, indeed. I need a drink. That's what I need.
Alexei made his way toward Katerina Ivanovna's house with new doubts besetting his mind. Until now, it had seemed impossible to him that Ivan should be in love with Dmitri's betrothed. He wanted to believe that Katerina was truly in love with Dmitri. But now he remembered his brother's words of the day before. She's giving me her life out of gratitude. And as he entered Katerina's drawing room, he looked anxiously into Ivan's pale face, trying to find the answer.
I'm just leaving, Alexei. Come along with me.
No, Ivan, please. I want to know what Alexei thinks. I want him to tell me I'm right.
If I can help you, Katerina?
You're my friend, Alexei. And you saw what happened yesterday, when that woman was here.
Grushenka, you mean?
Yes. I've decided something, Alexei, and Ivan thinks I'm right.
Oh, yes. You're right. It has to be this way.
And I want you to tell me so, too, Alexei.
What is it, Katerina?
It's only this. If Dmitri marries that woman, I'll never forgive him. But I'll never leave him. I'll watch over him all my life.
Dmitri will appreciate that.
He'll be unhappy with her, Ivan. He's sure to be. And then he can come to me. I'll give up my whole life for his happiness. I want him to see me doing it all his life.
But you only feel this way for a moment, Katerina.
Oh, you don't know her, Alexei. This moment will last all her life. She thinks it's her duty.
A duty, Alexei. That's what will help me bear it.
Yes, Katerina. You'll spend your life thinking about your own heroism, about how brave you are in your suffering.
Alexei, tell me. I want to know what you'll say. I know you're both my friends. I know you won't desert me.
I'm going back to Moscow tomorrow.
To Moscow? Why, how fortunate. I don't mean I'm glad you're going, such a good friend. I'm sorry to lose you. But you can deliver some letters for me. Yes, that's it, some letters. I'll go and write them right away.
And what about Alexei's opinion? I thought you were so anxious to hear it.
I haven't forgotten. I want his decision. I'll do whatever he says.
You'd better not hear what I've got to say.
What's the matter, Alexei?
He's going to Moscow, and you say you're glad. You're playing a part as if this were a theater.
What are you talking about?
You don't love Dmitri at all. You never have, and Dmitri never loved you. You're torturing Ivan because you love him, and you're torturing yourself trying to believe you love Dmitri. It's got to stop.
Why, you're a little religious idiot. That's what you are.
You're a good boy, Alexei. You made a mistake.
What mistake?
Katerina's not in love with me. She's kept me around so she could take out a spite on someone when Dmitri insulted her.
Is this what you think of me?
You're enjoying all of this, Katerina. It gives you a chance to be faithful and heroic.
Ivan, forgive me.
I can't not right now. I've loved you too much. I shouldn't say that. But it doesn't matter because I'm never coming back. Goodbye, Katerina. Be happy with your duty.
Ivan!
Katerina, it was my fault. I began it. Oh, what do I know about these things?
No, it was not your fault. Run after him, Alexei. Tell him.
Tell him what?
Tell him.
No.
Only go. Oh, Alexei. What kind of woman am I?
Ivan! Wait! Ivan!
Alexei! You should have come with me in the first place.
Ivan, you shouldn't have left Katerina like that. She's terribly unhappy.
Don't worry about her, little brother. She's stronger than you think. Come, walk along with me. Where are you going, Alexei?
I have to get back to the monastery soon. Father Zosima's dying.
Tell me, have you seen Dmitri today?
No.
Oh, I wanted to see him before I went away. No, but there's no need for it now.
Are you really going so soon, brother?
Yes. I finished what I had to do, and I'm going. You saw me finish it just now.
At Katerina's?
Yes.
I don't believe you, brother. I don't think you can live with this.
Don't you? And I tell you, there's a strength that can stand anything.
What strength?
The strength of being a Karamazov, Alexei. I can always fall back on that.
And get to be like Father, you mean?
Yes, even that. I can make a life for myself, Alexei. Without her, without anybody. For as long as I don't lose my desire for life, everything is lawful.
Yes. You said that yesterday.
And you don't like me for it, do you? No more about this, Alexei. You go to the right, and I to the left. Now, go to your elder. He's dying. If he dies without you, you'll be angry with me for keeping you. Goodbye, Alexei.
It was just the way Dmitri had left Alexei the night before, and a strange resemblance passed through Alexei's mind as he stood looking after his brother. For a moment, he was afraid for Ivan, but the thought left him, and all at once he turned and almost ran to the monastery. And Ivan, when he left Alexei, went home to Fyodor Pavlovich's house. But with every step he took, he felt a more terrible depression growing on him, a depression which he could not explain, until suddenly, about 15 paces from the gate, he realized what was worrying him. The lackey, Smerdyakov, was sitting on a bench in the gateway waiting for him. And suddenly, Ivan knew that this was the man he hated. Hated for his slyness, his vanity, and for the way he seemed to think that he and Ivan had some kind of understanding between them. Smerdyakov grinned at him.
I am surprised at you, Ivan Fyodorovich.
Why are you surprised at me?
Why don't you go to Chermasnya, sir?
Why should I go to Chermasnya?
Why, because Fyodor Pavlovich has begged you to go. To sell his land for him, sir.
Let me pass. I'm in a hurry.
Oh, wait a minute, Ivan Fyodorovich.
Well?
I'm in an awful position, sir.
What are you talking about?
Why, about your father and your brother Dmitri. Fyodor Pavlovich worries me every minute about Grushenka. When will she come? Why hasn't she come? And Dmitri Fyodorovich threatens to kill me if I let her get here without knowing. Oh, I'm afraid of them, sir.
Then why have you been meddling? Why are you spying for Dmitri anyway?
Oh, how could I help it? Dmitri Fyodorovich got a hold of me at the very beginning. Now he'll kill me if I miss her.
Well, what are you going to do about it?
I don't know, sir. I have a feeling perhaps I'll have a long fit tomorrow.
What do you mean, a long fit?
My epilepsy, sir. I've had it all my life. Sometimes the fits go on for 3 days.
But how can you tell when you're going to have one?
I can't tell. But I might fall down the cellar steps, and that would bring one on.
Oh. So you're going to pretend to be ill for 3 days.
If Grushenka should come, Dmitri couldn't blame a sick man for not telling him. Could he, sir?
Oh, hang it all. What are you afraid of? Dimitri's not going to kill you.
He'd kill me first of all. But more than that, they might take me for an accomplice if he killed your father.
Who should take you for an accomplice?
Oh, wait. Because of the signals, sir.
What signals? Speak out, will you?
You've been going to your room early, sir. You don't know how carefully your father locks himself in at night. He's afraid to open the door. But he wants to know if Grushenka comes. So, there are signals. He sent me to tell her about them. 5 knocks means she's here. 3 knocks means he must let me in. So, if he heard one of the signals, he'd open the door right away, without being afraid.
And you told Dmitri about this? How dared you tell him?
I was afraid of him. I told him so he'd know I'm faithful to him.
Then you'd better watch for him. Make sure he doesn't use those signals.
But how can I, if I should be laid up with a fit?
Oh, let Grigory know then. He'll keep them out.
Oh, Grigory will never know. His lumbago has been bothering him, and every night his wife gives him a very strong medicine, and then drinks the rest of it herself. It puts them right to sleep, and they'd never hear Dmitri.
So you'll have a fit and they'll be drunk. It looks to me like you're trying to arrange this whole thing.
Oh, how could I arrange it? It all depends on Dmitri, whether he comes.
And if Grushenka doesn't come to the old man at all, then why should Dmitri break in?
Why, he'll come the way he did yesterday, just to make sure she's not here. And then there's the 3,000 rubles. You know it's in an envelope in your father's room.
And that's nonsense. Dmitri might kill father on account of Grushenka, but he won't steal.
He needs money, Ivan Fyodorovich. And besides, think of this. If Grushenka marries the old man, there wouldn't be a penny for any of you. But Fyodor Pavlovich hasn't made a will. If he dies now, there'll be 40,000, even for Dmitri.
Then why on earth are you telling me to go to Chermashnya?
Oh, if I were in your place, I'd get out of here, that's all.
You're an idiot, and what's more, you're a scoundrel.
Oh.
I'm going away to Moscow, if you want to know. And I'm going early tomorrow morning.
Of course, they could send for you in Moscow if anything happens.
Oh. And couldn't they send for me in Chermashnya? It's even closer than Moscow.
They could send for you there, too.
Then what are you talking about?
I only meant, sir, your father has asked you to go to Chermashnya. He's begged you to go.
So, he'd be bringing it on himself, is that it?
Precisely so.
Sure. Let him think I've gone to Chermashnya, then. I tell you, I'm going to Moscow. And I'm going tomorrow.
Yes, sir. I always say, sir, it's worthwhile talking to a clever man.
What do you mean by that, you idiot?
Oh, nothing, sir. Fyodor Pavlovich will be waking up soon, if you will excuse me.
Ivan sat up very late at night thinking of many things, and rose in the morning without saying goodbye to his father and set out on his journey. But instead of relief, his soul was filled with such gloom, his heart ached with such anguish as he'd never known before. Meanwhile, as Ivan and Smerdyakov were having their strange conversation, Alexei reached the monastery and went anxiously into Father Zosima's cell. The elder's face was bright and cheerful. He lay in his bed, talking quietly to Father Paisi and the other monks who were his friends. Seeing Alexei, he smiled joyfully and held out his hand.
Welcome, my dear Alexei.
Oh, dear Father, I came as soon as I could.
Have you been home? Have you seen your brother Dmitri?
I saw him yesterday. I could not find him today.
Oh, but you must find him. Perhaps
Perhaps you may have time to prevent something terrible.
Elder and teacher, tell me, what is this terror? What is this suffering?
I cannot tell. But I saw a look in his face, and it seemed to reflect his fate. Alexei, remember, everything and all our fates are from the Lord. But I can tell you, Alexei, what the Lord decrees for you. You will go forth from these walls, and you will live like a monk in the world. You will have misfortunes, but you will find your happiness in them. You will bless life, and you will make others bless it. Alexei, give me a hand, dearest father. Rejoice, dear son, rejoice. Pray for me, Alexei. My blessing upon you.
Father Zosima. Father Zosima.
He is gone, dear son. He is with the Lord.
Father, you see, how can this be? What shall I do now? What shall I do?
The body of Father Zosima was prepared for burial according to the ritual, and he lay in the open coffin with an icon of the Savior in his hand. All night, Alexei knelt beside him and prayed, while Father Paisi stood reading the gospel as it was prescribed. But when it was daylight, the crowds began to gather outside the cell. The monks came first, and then the people from the town. They gathered, waiting, filled with expectation.
A miracle. We shall see a miracle.
The sick will be healed. The blind will see again.
A miracle. A miracle.
And Alexei was waiting too, hoping, fearing, sure of great things to come. Surely God would show his favor to the remains of such a holy man. Yet the hours went by, and the expected miracle did not come to pass. The crowd grew restless, and the mood began to change.
It shows God's judgment is not his man.
He was not strict in fasting. He was a proud man. He was not humble.
And the criticism became an uproar.
He was unclean. He was not faithful.
He is turned into a devil. It is a sign. It is a sign from God.
All at once, Father Paisi saw Alexei leave the side of the coffin with a strange look and slip toward the door of the cell.
Alexei, my son. Where are you going?
I don't know, Father. Where is there left for me to go?
What do you mean, my son?
Father Paisi, why has there been no miracle?
Have you fallen into temptation, then? Can you be with those of little faith?
Let me go, Father, I pray you.
You're leaving the hermitage? Without asking leave? Without asking a blessing? Go then, Alexei. But you will come back again.
Alexei had spoken the truth. He did not know where he was going. He knew only that the man he had exalted above everything in the world had not received the glory that was his due. Who had judged him? Who had decreed this? And there was a terrible doubt in Alexei's heart. For if his faith was gone, what was there left for him? And then he remembered Ivan's words the day before.
The strength of being a Karamazov, to sink into baseness and corruption.
Grushenka lived in the busiest part of the town near the cathedral square. It was quite dark when Alexei reached her rooms.
Yes? Yes, who is it?
It is Alexei Karamazov.
Daniel, who's there? Don't let him in. It's not he, mistress. It's someone else.
It's I, Grushenka. It's Alexei.
Alexei, you frightened me. But I'm so glad to see you. Come in, come in. I've always hoped you'd come to see me, Alexei. Only I'm expecting some news, and I was afraid it was Dmitri breaking in.
But why are you so afraid of Dmitri?
I tell you, I'm expecting news. I don't want him here at all. But you, Alexei, it's different with you. Sit here by me. Sit on the sofa. That's right. Why do you look so sad, Alexei?
What? I don't know. I have nothing to be sad about.
No, of course not. I'll cheer you up, Alexei. Here, let me sit on your knee. You're not afraid of me, are you?
No, I'm not afraid.
Of course not. And now, shall I tell you my secret about the message?
Tell me, if you like.
My officer is coming, Alexei. The man I haven't seen for 5 years. He's at McRoya. He'll send a messenger for me. I'm expecting the messenger any minute.
At McRoya? Why, that was where...
Where I went with Dmitri once?
Does Dmitri know about this?
Of course he doesn't. That's why I'm so afraid. But don't remind me of him. I want to think about you. Senya, go get some champagne. I want to celebrate because Alexei's here.
At once, mistress. What a lot of excitement.
Why did you come, Alexei? What made you come?
I don't know. Only that Father Zosima died last night.
What? And I didn't know. I've been sitting on your knee at a time like this. And you had such a terrible sorrow.
You know my sorrow? You can understand it?
Oh, I pity you, Alexei. Heaven rest his soul. He was a good man. He was a saint.
You say that? Then you saved me, Grushenka.
Saved you? But how?
I came here thinking to find a wicked soul. I came because I thought I'd lost my faith, because I felt drawn to evil. And instead, you had pity.
Alexei, hush, you're making me ashamed. I'm bad, Alexei. I'm not good. I wanted to get you here. I wanted to ruin you because you despise.
But I've never despised you.
But you ought to. You ought to. Listen, Alexei. 5 years ago, when I first began to live this way, I used to lie awake at night remembering that man, my officer, and I used to say, I'll pay him back. I'll pay him back. And then I grew hard. I grew wise. I turned into this.
But now he's coming back.
But it isn't the same. I'm not the same. Only when I first heard from him, it took my breath away. I thought, if he comes out, crawl back to him like a beaten dog. And now you know the truth. Now you can judge me.
I judge you? What am I beside you? 5 years in torment, and you can still forgive. You know more about love than I do. There's a treasure in your soul.
Alexei, you're the only man who's ever pitied me. I knew someday someone like you would come.
Mistress, darling.
Senya, what is it?
The messenger has come with a carriage and 3 horses. And the letter, mistress. Here's the letter.
Give it to me. He sent for me. He whistles. Crawl back, little dog. Goodbye, Alexei. It's 5 years of my life. I've got to go. Alexei, one thing more.
What is it, dear sister?
Give my greetings to Dmitri. Tell him Grushenka loved him for 1 hour. Let him remember that hour all his life. Now go, Alexei. Grushenka is flying to a new life. Or to her fate.
And Alexei went out alone into the dark, rejoicing in the pity and the goodness of this woman he had thought so evil. He returned to the cell in the monastery fell on his knees beside the coffin and poured out his thankfulness.
Thank you, dearest Father. Thank you for the miracle of love.
And he rose and went down the steps into the open, his faith overflowing in his heart, the faith which was now to be his for all his life. He fell down on the earth and embraced it. And it seemed to him that the mystery of earth was one with the mystery of the stars.
The Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky is one of the world's great novels, brought to you each week by the NBC University of the Air. Listen next week to the third episode of The Brothers Karamazov. To enhance your enjoyment of these broadcasts, NBC offers you Herbert Gorman's Handbook of the World's Great Novels. Just send 25 cents with your request to World's Great Novels, Post Office Box 30, Station J, New York 27. The Brothers Karamazov was adapted for radio by Clarence A. Ross. The music was composed by Emil Soderstrom, and the orchestra was directed by Bernard Berquist. The entire production was under the direction of Homer Heck. Dostoevsky was played by Donald Gallagher, Grushenka by Patty Dunlap, Katerina by Jean Mowry, Fenya by Alma Platt, Alexei by Charles Flynn, Ivan by Larry Alexander, Fyodor Pavlovich by Sherman Marks, Smerdyakov by Cliff Norton, Father Zosima by Arthur Peterson, and Father Paisi by Burr Lee. This is David Garraway. This program came to you from Chicago and has been a presentation of the National Broadcasting Company and its independent, affiliated stations. This is NBC's Great Novels. The NBC University of the Air presents the third episode in its four-part dramatization of Fyodor Dostoevsky's great tragic novel, The Brothers Karamazov, another in its series of books that live, the world's great novels. And so the tale of the three brothers continues. We have seen Ivan Karamazov flee from his father's house to Moscow in an effort to free himself from the family conflicts. Alexei, the youngest, sleeps soundly tonight at his cot at the monastery. He has found strength and a renewal of his faith. Aided by Grushenka, the woman desired both by his father and his eldest brother, Dmitri. Now Grushenka has departed for the town of Makroya to meet her former lover, a man she has not seen in 5 years. But this fact is not known either by the evil old father, Fyodor Pavlovich, nor by the wild and passionate Dmitri, whose jealousy of his own father is driving him to his doom.
At the very moment when Grushenka, flying to a new life, called her last farewell to Alexei, Fyodor Pavlovich in his lonely house was waiting eagerly for her arrival. The lackey, Smerdyakov, had assured him that morning that she had promised to come without fail. But the day had been full of annoyances, and he was in a disagreeable temper as the old servant Grigory served him his dinner.
Grigory! What the devil is the matter with this fowl? It's so dried up I can hardly chew it. Give me a drink of brandy.
Yes, Fyodor Pavlovich.
That's better. Now that Ivan's taken himself off, there's only me to cook for. I should think a man could have a decent meal.
My wife wasn't trained as a cook, Fyodor Pavlovich. Smerdyakov has done all the cooking for so long.
Yes, confound him. Has the doctor been here?
Yes.
Well, what does he say?
He says one can never tell with epilepsy. It's a very violent fit. It may go on for a long time.
Oh, what good does that do me? I could have told him that. Oh. Give me that plate of fruit, will you?
Yes, sir.
Confound you! What are you so clumsy for?
I'm sorry, Fyodor Pavlovich. It's my lumbago. I can hardly stand.
Fine servants. One falls in a fit, the other's a cripple. Oh, get to bed. Get to bed. I don't want you stumbling around.
Yes, Fyodor Pavlovich. Do you want anything more?
No, we're off with you. Oh, and mind you lock the garden gate. No telling what that ruffian Dmitri will do.
Yes, Fyodor Pavlovich.
Oh, good riddance. Now, there's no one in the house. That's good. No one to bother my angel Grushenka when she comes. All the doors locked, but this one safe and sound. Now I've got to listen for the signal. 5 knocks on the window. That'll mean she's here. I don't want to miss the signal if she comes. If she comes. When she comes.
Dmitri Fyodorovich said afterwards that he had spent this time in a state of mind close to madness. It seemed to him that his final conflict with his father was close upon him and had to be decided before anything else. But beyond that, he dreamed of the time when he would marry Grushenka, would carry her far away to a place where they could begin anew, a virtuous life. But for this new life, he needed money, and there was the terrible weight on his conscience of the money he had stolen from Katerina Ivanovna.
I've been a scoundrel to one woman. I'm a common pickpocket. Grushenka won't want to spend her life with a thief. I've got to pay my debt to Katerina. I've got to.
And he made up his mind that before all else, the 3,000 rubles must be returned to Katerina Ivanovna. Where was he to get the money? Where? In his confusion, he tried every means to find it. His landlord, who was used to his strange requests.
Samsonov, have you any money in the house? 3 rubles? Give it to me quickly.
And a young official he had met in a tavern, a man fond of collecting weapons.
Pyotr Ilyich Perhotin. These dueling pistols. They are my most prized possession. I won't sell them to you, but what will you lend me for them? 10 rubles? Very well.
Thus it was known and remembered that early in the evening of which we speak, Dmitri Fyodorovich had not a farthing in the world. But in all those 2 days, he had seen nothing of Grushenka. And all at once, the terrible thought struck him.
What has she been doing? My father is waiting for her with 3,000 rubles. What if she has gone with him?
Grushenka had not been on her way to Mokroya a quarter of an hour, and Fenya, her maid, was sitting in the kitchen.
Dmitri Fyodorovich! Oh, heaven help me.
Fenya, where is your mistress? Where is she?
I don't know, sir. You may kill me, but I can't tell you.
You're lying. I know you're lying. I'll find her.
Please, Dmitri Fyodorovich, please.
Get out of my way.
But as Dmitri is rushing for the door, something catches his eye. A pounding mortar stands on the table, and in it a small brass pestle. And reaching out his hand, Dmitri slips the pestle into his pocket. Climbing the garden fence in back of his father's house, Dmitri can see the lighted window.
There's a light in the old man's room. She's there.
He stands, listening. There's not a sound, not a breath of wind.
If only they didn't hear me jump over the fence.
Slowly he creeps forward, reaches the bushes outside the window.
There he is. But where is she?
He watches Fyodor Pavlovich pacing the room, up and down.
He's alone. She must not be there. But I've got to know. I've got to know.
Grushenka, is it you? Where are you, my angel? Where are you?
Dmitri watches him, not moving.
Where are you, my angel? Oh, I've got a present for you.
Yes, 3,000 rubles. The money that is mine.
This is the moment of loathing that Demetrius feared. Furious anger rises in his heart. Suddenly his hand goes to his pocket. His fingers close around the brass pestle. But a moment later he turns and plunges headlong through the garden, fleeing from the impulse to kill. It is at this very moment that the old servant, Grigory, sleeping in the lodge, wakens on his bed of sickness.
Oh, my back. My back. There's something I've forgotten. I forgot to lock the garden gate.
Coming down the steps of the lodge, he notices an unusual thing.
Why is the master's window open? It isn't summer now.
And then, 40 paces away in the garden, the shadow of a man, a shadow moving very fast.
Get away from here. I've got to get away.
Who's there? Stop! Stop, I tell you!
And just as Dmitri reaches the fence...
So, it's you. I've got you. I've got you, parasite.
Oh, what have I done? There's blood. I killed him.
And there lay Grigory. And 2 paces away, in the middle of the path, a small brass pestle covered with blood. But Dmitri was running like a madman through the night.
Please, Dmitri Fyodorovich, don't hurt me.
You'll talk or I'll kill you. Where is she, Fenya? Where is she?
I'll tell you everything. She's gone to McCroya, to her officer.
What officer? Confound you, what officer?
The same one she used to know 5 years ago.
What?
He came back. He sent for her. She's gone to him.
Gone?
What is that? Your hands. Look at your hands.
Huh? Oh, it's blood, Fenya. It's blood. And why was it spilled? But it doesn't matter. I won't stand in her way. Only till dawn. Tomorrow, Dmitri will step aside. Pyotr Ilyich, thank heaven I found you at home.
I was just on my way. Good heavens, Dmitri, what's the matter? You're covered with blood.
The pistols I pawned with you today. Give them to me quickly. I've brought you the money.
Money? I should think you have. What a fistful of banknotes. But look at yourself. What's wrong with you? Here, I'll pour you some water. Wash that blood off.
Yes. But first, give me the pistols. I need them. Here's your money.
100 rubles? I haven't got change. Haven't you got anything smaller?
I don't know. I think they're all alike.
I'll send my servant to the shop next door to Plotnikov's. They'll change it. Oh, Misha, come in here.
To the shop? To Plotnikov's? Yes, that's it. Oh, Misha, look here. Take this money. Take 300 rubles and
300? Why are you giving him so much?
No matter. Take the money, Misha. Run to the shop. Tell them to load up a carriage with things to take to McCroya. They'll know all about it. I did this once before. Tell them 4 dozen bottles of champagne.
Good
and pastries,
heavens.
meat, caviar, candy, 300 rubles worth. The same as before. They know what I had before.
All right, Misha. You heard him. Be off with you. I hope he understood you, Dmitri. He was busy staring at that blood. Come on, you've got to wash it off.
Oh, yes. All right.
What have you been up to? Whom have you been beating?
It's nothing. I haven't time to tell you. Give me the pistols. Oh, where's my money?
You put it in your pocket.
Oh.
Where did you get all that money? Here's the pistol. I haven't opened the case since you left. What are you doing? Loading the pistol?
Yes, I'm loading it.
Why are you looking at the bullet like that?
Listen, Pyotr Ilyich. If you were going to put that bullet in your brain, couldn't you look at it first?
What are you talking about?
Nothing. Just foolishness. Come on, let's go. I want to start from McCroya.
What are you going to McCroya for in the middle of the night?
There's a woman. I was there with her once before. Come on, let's go.
Well, they've got the carriage all loaded up with the things you ordered.
Yes, I've got to be off. The driver's ready.
Listen, Dmitri. What was that nonsense about the bullet?
Don't worry, Pyotr Ilyich. I was fooling about the bullet. I've got to get in now.
Dmitri Fyodorovich!
Huh?
Wait, please.
Why, it's Grushenka's maid.
Fenya, what are you doing here?
Please, Dmitri Fyodorovich, don't harm my mistress.
What is this?
Don't harm her, Dmitri Fyodorovich. And don't murder him. He's going to marry her. That's why he came back.
So that's it. You're going to make trouble, Dmitri? Listen, give me back those pistols. Do you hear?
Please, Dmitri Fyodorovich.
Oh, don't worry, Fenya. I won't hurt anyone. Got to leave now. I've got to hurry. Goodbye, Sir Horton. Fly along, driver. Full speed!
Confound it, there's something going on here. Where's that girl? She's run off. Those pistols. Oh, let them do what they like. None of my business. But his face, covered with blood. And he wouldn't say where he got that money. I'm going to look into this.
Innkeeper! Innkeeper!
Yes? What do you want? Dmitri Fyodorovich, Your Honor. It's a pleasure to see you again.
Where's Grushenka? Is she here?
She's here, Dmitri Fyodorovich. She's in the next room with a stranger, an official Polish gentleman. Mozholovich's name is.
Listen, you remember when I was here before how I sent the money flying?
I remember well. You must have left 3,000 rubles behind you.
Yes. Well, I've come to do the same thing again. Unload the cart, the champagne, everything. And send for the gypsies. Wake up the whole village. I want a feast, you hear?
At once, Dmitri Fyodorovich. Come on, driver. Lend a hand here.
No.
Dmitri, what are you doing here?
Who is this man?
Don't be afraid, Grushenka. I'm all right. Nothing's the matter. But, sir, I must ask you, may I stay here tonight, here in this room? Only till morning.
Sir, I do not know you, but...
Karamazov. Dmitri Karamazov.
We are here in private, Karamazov. There are other rooms.
But you must let me stay. It's my last night. My last hour. I've brought wine and money. Lots of money. I want to have music and singing. Only one night.
If my lady is permitting.
Of course. Dmitri, sit down. What are you talking about? Don't frighten us.
Me frighten you? Why should I want to frighten you? I have nothing to do with you anymore. Wine! Wine! Let's have some wine!
Oh, I'm glad you've come. I want you to stay.
What my queen commands is law. Karamazov, I beg you to join us.
Let us drink, then. Innkeeper, where is the champagne?
I'm coming, Dmitri Fyodorovich. Here's the wine. I've brought it.
Oh, no, more bottles, more champagne. Quickly, do you hear?
At once, Dmitri Fyodorovich.
Let's drink. I drink to your country, Mushalovich. To Poland.
We drink to Poland.
And now, let us drink to Russia.
To Russia, and we shall be brothers. What is this, Mushalovich? You do not drink.
I will not drink to Russia.
Huh?
Russia is the enemy of my country.
You are a fool, Mushalovich.
I am not a fool.
Then why don't you drink?
A man loves his own country.
Stop quarreling. I won't have it. Stop it, I tell you.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to start a quarrel.
You didn't, son. It was he.
It was not a good idea to drink.
And are we simply to sit here now and look at each other?
Oh, no. That isn't what I want. What shall we do?
You mentioned you had money, Karamazov. Perhaps a game of cards.
Cards? Why, that's a wonderful idea. We'll play cards.
Of course, it is very late.
It's always late with you. Why are you so dull? Why are you so gloomy?
I am only gloomy when you're angry with me. Are you ready, Karamazov? Here, sit at the table.
Yes. Well, here is my money. I want to lose a lot to you.
Would you care to use your own card?
No. Take your card.
As you wish.
How much is the bank?
100 rubles, 200, as much as you want.
200, then. Here. I stake 10 rubles on the knave.
The knave is trumped.
Double the stakes. The queen of hearts.
The queen is also trumped.
Double again. On the 7.
Stop, Dmitri.
You lose again, Karamazov.
All right. Double again.
You have lost 200 rubles, Karamazov. Will you stake any more?
200 already? Well, here then. Another 200.
Stop it. That's enough.
But what's the matter?
I won't let you go on. I won't let you do it.
Are you joking, milady?
You're cheating. I saw you do it. I saw you change a card.
So that's it.
You've come to that. You're nothing but a cheat.
You dare to insult my honor?
Your honor. You have no honor. Dmitri, make him give him back your money. Make him give it back.
This is unthinkable.
No. Wait a minute. Never mind the 200.
What?
Muzhalovich, listen. You want money. I'll give you money, lots of it.
What is this, Dmitri?
3,000, Muzhalovich. Take it and go your way.
3,000, you say?
700 down, and I'll get the rest. On my honor, I'll get it. Take it and go to the devil. This minute and forever.
You're offering him money for me? How dare you? Am I for sale?
But look at him. He'll take it. He wants it. Only he wants the whole thing at once, and more, too.
Oh, Muzhalovich. Perhaps you heard I had money. Is that why you came here to marry me?
I came here to forget the past. I came to forgive you.
You came to forgive me.
But now when I see this man, this Karamazov, your lover...
That's a lie. She's a good woman. It's not as you say.
I came here to make you my wife. But you're not the same. You're a shameless woman.
Get out, then. Go back where you came from.
Do you mean this?
I've been such a fool. I've been miserable for 5 years, and for this. You weren't like this at all. 5 years I've been crying like a fool, like a shameless fool.
Shameless, yes. Shameless and common.
Will you get out? Or do I have to throw you out?
I'm going. Grushenka, you can come with me if you want to. If not, goodbye.
Get out! Get out! Dmitri, what have I done?
Grushenka, listen. The gypsies are here. The feast is ready.
Call them in. Bring some wine. I want to drink. I want to get drunk and dance. Do you remember, Dmitri, the way we did before?
Nice, oh, no bargain now, our stingy. Purse your lips.
Dmitri, come and sit beside me. How did you happen to come here? Did you really want to give me up to him?
I didn't want to spoil your happiness.
But how did you hear about me? Who told you to come here?
I will tell you, Grushenka. This is how it was.
Hide, draw a trifle nearer.
And you meant to shoot yourself? Oh, how silly you are. So you'd go to any lengths for me?
I'd do anything for you, Grushenka.
I'll have something to say to you later. Not now. Go and amuse yourself.
Oh, tell me now.
No, later. I don't want to now. Why are you sad? I can see you're sad. Tell me why.
It's nothing. Only I left a man ill back there. I'd give 10 years of life to know if he's all right.
Well, never mind him. You know what I have to tell you? My darling, don't you know who I love?
Oh, my darling.
You came here tonight and suddenly everything was bright. And my heart said, that's the man you love. But you were afraid of me. How could I think I loved anyone but you? Dmitri, will you forgive me? Do you love me?
Oh, Grushenka, my own.
Go along, then. I want to drink. I want to dance with the gypsies.
Whatever happens now, for this 1 minute, I'd give the whole world.
And the captain came from Rostock, and the handsome little corporal came from the town of Ireland.
I can't dance anymore. I'm weak. I can't. Dimitri, take me out of here. Take me away.
Of course, my darling. Here, let me carry you. Lie down here, my darling. Lie still and rest.
Don't touch me, please. Let us be good. Let us be honest. Take me away. Take me far away.
Yes. Yes, I'll take you. We'll fly away.
Yes, darling. When shall it be? When?
Right away. Soon. Oh, if I only knew about that blood.
What blood?
Nothing. Darling, you want to be honest. But I'm a thief. I've stolen money from Katerina.
No, you haven't. Take it from me. Pay her back. What does money matter? Give it back to her and love me. Don't love her anymore.
I do love you. I love only you. I love you in Siberia.
Why, Siberia? Never mind Siberia, if you like. I don't care as long as I'm close to you.
Here he is.
Huh? What is this?
Will you come here to us, please?
Who are these men?
This is the captain of police. I am the deputy prosecutor, Hippolyte Kirillovich Makarov.
The old man. The old man in his blood. I understand.
Then you admit the crime?
I admit it. Punish me. Decide my fate.
You will have to come along with us.
I'll come. But tell me, how did you find out so soon? It was the devil's work that you came here so soon.
As to that, Fyodor Ilyich Pierhotin informed us how you came to him. Covered with blood.
Oh.
We found the old man lying where you left him. His head battered in.
Yes. Yes, it was so. I didn't mean to kill him. Oh, Gregory.
You speak of the old servant? He's alive.
Huh?
In spite of your blows. He's recovered.
He's alive? I didn't kill him? Oh, Lord, I thank you for his miracle.
Indeed, it was he who told us how he caught you, running from the open door of the house.
House? Door? What door?
And how stupid you were, going to Pierhotin with the old man's money in your fist.
The old man's money? What nightmare is this? What are you talking about?
Come now. You admitted the crime.
But what crime? You have said Grigory lives.
Enough of this. Ex-Lieutenant Dmitri Fyodorovich Karamazov, it is my duty to inform you that you are charged with the murder of your father, Fyodor Pavlovich Karamazov.
The Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky is one of the world's great novels, brought to you each week by the NBC University of the Air. Listen next week to the final episode of The Brothers Karamazov, and remember that this and countless other great books are to be had in your local public library. To enhance your enjoyment of these broadcasts, NBC offers you Herbert Gorman's Handbook of the World's Great Novels. Just send 25 cents with your request to World's Great Novels, Post Office Box 30, Station J, New York 27, New York. That's World's Great Novels, Post Office Box 30, Station J, New York 27. Brothers Karamazov was adapted for radio by Clarence A. Ross. The music was composed by Emil Soderstrom, and the orchestra directed by Bernard Berquist. The entire production was under the direction of Homer Heck. Dostoevsky is played by Donald Gallagher, Grushenka by Patricia Dunlap, Fenya by Alma Platt, the Gypsy Singer by Carolyn Gilbert, Dmitri by Boris Aplon, Fyodor Pavlovich by Sherman Marks, Grigory by Philip Lord, Pierre Hotin by Everett Clark, Musyalovich by George Kluge, Kirillovich by Ken Nordine, and The Innkeeper by Fred Smith. This is Dave Garraway. The program came to you from Chicago and was a presentation of the National Broadcasting Company and its independent, affiliated stations. A soldier will take shelter in a tent, a foxhole, or a cellar during a war. He has to. But as a private citizen and a veteran, he needs a decent place to live for himself and his family. Right now, our veterans are finding it next to impossible to locate such a place. And it will be a long time before emergency housing measures take care of the situation. But you can help him. You can help him by sharing your home, remodeling unused space into apartments, listing vacancies at the local Veterans Housing Center, and by not discriminating against children. If you can help to house a veteran, do it today. This is no time for sympathy. This situation demands action. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting.
Suspense. Autolite and its 96,000 dealers present Miss Agnes Moorehead in The Chain, a suspense play produced and edited by William Spear.
Say, Harlow, whom do you go to when you have a baby?
A baby? Why, to a doctor. I mean...
when you go to jail, I should say, when you have a lawsuit, whom do you go to?
A lawyer. Baby, lawsuit. What are you driving at, Hap?
The best spark plugs for your car, my good man.
Oh, well, now you're on my ground. Who knows more about the best spark plugs for your car than Autolite's ignition engineers? The men who design and build complete ignition systems for many of America's finest cars. Why, it's the skill and know-how of these Autolite ignition engineers that have made Autolite the world's largest independent manufacturer of automotive electrical equipment and made Autolite spark plugs world famous.
That means they know how to build into spark plugs the best in quick starting, smooth performance, and gas mileage, eh, Harlow?
Right you are, and say it's the skill of these same Autolite engineers that made possible the development of the Autolite resistor spark plug, one of the greatest advances in spark plug design for automotive use in the past 20 years. So, friends, go to your friendly Autolite spark plug dealer and have him replace worn-out spark plugs with world-famous ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs. Whether you choose the resistor type or the regular type, you can't buy a better spark plug for your car because you're always right with Autolite.
And now, with The Chain and the performance of Agnes Moorehead, Autolite hopes once again to keep you in suspense.
All I did was write a letter, that's all. You can't blame me for what happened. I didn't start it. It came to me, and I followed the instructions because I was afraid. Hundreds of people do it every day, so how can you blame me? Everybody in town knows me. They respect me. I've always been a good wife. By the morning it started, I was fixing George's breakfast. Not just toast like some women fix, but bacon and eggs and hot biscuits.
Coffee ready?
I asked you not to wander off. Your bacon is burned to a crisp.
I told you I only wanted fruit juice and coffee.
went down to the road to pick up the mail.
Why do you always run for the mail? Are you expecting something you don't want me to see, George?
If there was anything I didn't want you to see, I could have it sent to the office.
Oh, could you? I didn't know you were important enough to be permitted to receive personal mail there.
Leonora, that's enough. Bert Reynolds was appointed district manager. I should have gotten the job, but I didn't. Now, let's forget about
Well, maybe you can forget about it, but Abby Reynolds won't let me forget. She has a hired man to do her work now. She can spend half her day in town, but not Leonora Carpenter. No, poor Leonora is bottled up here without a car, without anything. Here's your coffee. After all the trouble I've gone to, I guess I can throw the rest of the breakfast out. What was in the mail?
Just this letter for you.
For me? Who was it from?
I don't know, Leonora. I've never opened your mail.
Well, you need to be so sarcastic. Oh, dear. From my cousin Emily. One of those ridiculous chain letters. This letter was started by a holy man in Tibet to end all evil. You must make 2 copies and mail them to others within 24 hours or the chain will be broken. Whoever breaks the chain will meet with evil. A Navy pilot broke the chain and was killed in a crash 2 days later. Such a ridiculous thing. Now, who can I send it to?
You can burn it and not send it to anybody.
Well, maybe you don't think so, but I think our luck is bad enough as it is. I could send one to Abby Reynolds, of course, but I'd have to sign my name to it.
And since you're peeved with Abby, she's fortunately spared. Besides, she'd tear it up.
Yes, she would. That'd be just like Abby. What's the name of the man they hired?
I don't know. Kirch, something or other. Kerchevsky, Peter Kerchevsky.
Peter Kerchevsky.
You're not thinking of sending a copy to him?
Why not, George? Why not?
Well, it's absurd. You don't even know the man.
I send one to him and he sends one to Abby.
He probably won't send it to anybody.
But he will, George. He's a foreigner, isn't he? And they're all so superstitious. You'd have to send it to her. He may not even know anybody else.
Suit yourself. Need anything from town?
No.
Time for him to be getting back to the office.
It's very early, George. You never used to leave so early. You used to eat a big breakfast.
I'm just not hungry.
Maybe you'll be hungry by the time you get to town. Then you'll have time for a second breakfast at the drugstore.
Maybe.
You might even meet Miss Holden. She has her breakfast there.
Leonora.
She's very pretty, George. Not at all like your former secretary.
Betty Holden's a very efficient girl. If she's pretty, I've never noticed
Well, notice it, George. Notice it while you're having your second breakfast.
I'll see you at dinner, Leonora.
George didn't fool me a bit. He never did. Some wives can't see the signs, but I could. I cleaned up the house spotless. That's where I kept it. Then I sat down with the letter. I made a copy and addressed it to Mr. Peter Kerchevsky, care of Mrs. Abby Reynolds. Then I made the second copy. Whoever breaks the chain will meet with evil. Hadn't spoken to George about this copy. I sealed it in an envelope and addressed it to Miss Betty Holden. I mailed the letters, then I waited patiently. I watched George's face the next night when he came home. I had all his favorite things for dinner. I even had my hair put up the way he liked it best. Not that he was ever pleased with the things I did for him. I wasn't the one he had on his mind. You're not very good company tonight, George.
I find very little to say.
I passed your office today. You seemed quite animated in there. But perhaps you find Miss Holden's conversation more stimulating than mine.
We were discussing something that was very embarrassing to me, Leonora.
Oh?
Why did you send her that letter?
Well, it said send 2 copies, and that's what I did.
Well, why Miss Holden?
Why not?
Because it was a stupid and childish thing.
Is that what she said?
She's too much of a lady. That's what she thought, and so did I.
Oh, you and Miss Holden seem to think very much alike. It's a pity you're not married to her.
Yes, Leonora. It is a pity.
So it's true, then. You agree that I'm stupid and childish. What other agreements do you have, George?
Why do you twist things so? I
know what you said. You think I'm deaf, George? I'm not. I'm not blind either.
She's my secretary, that's all.
If that's all, then why don't you fire her?
For what cause?
Because I don't want her there. That's cause enough, isn't it? I'm your wife. Isn't what I want important?
Not when it can cost somebody a job without reason.
Oh, you're so noble, aren't you, George? But that isn't like you. I know because I live with you. You're a liar, George, and I could get her fired without your help. I'll go to Bert Reynolds and tell him...
Leonora, if you do that,
Go ahead and hit me, George, because the secretary means nothing to you.
No. That wouldn't do any good with you, Leonora. You're not worth it.
You stay here and talk to me. Where do you think you're going?
I'm going out to the guest room over the garage. Where I go from there, I'll decide later.
You mean you're going to stay out there?
That's exactly what I mean.
You want to make a fool of me. You want people around town whispering that you left me. You want them to laugh at me.
They'll never know unless you tell them, Leonora.
You'll make sure that Betty Holden knows it, though, won't you? George, come back here. Do you hear me? George! I knew they were talking about me. I could see it in their faces every time I went into town. The woman is always to blame when something goes wrong. But they didn't know what George was like. I went to town every day, whether I had to or not, to show them I had nothing to be ashamed of. Thursday was the day Abby Reynolds did her shopping at the Bon Ton, and I planned to meet her, accidentally.
Leonora! Oh, Leonora, I'm so glad to see you.
Hello, Abby.
I tried to phone you this morning.
Oh, well, I've been in town all day.
Bert told me to call you. I'm glad I ran into you instead. Well, there's something I have to tell you. We know you meant no harm.
So George has been criticizing me to Bert.
Why, no, dear. I meant about the letter. The chain letter you sent to Peter Kaczewski.
What harm could that do, Abby?
None. That's what Bert tried to tell him, but he's a very quiet, strange man. And, well, you see, Leonora, his wife died yesterday.
Oh, no. No, Abby.
He got the letter a few days ago.
No.
He can't read English, so he usually brings his mail to Bert. But his wife got sick that morning, and he took her to the hospital. He didn't bring the letter to Bert until this morning. And without thinking, of course...
He read it to him?
Bert tried to reason with him, but he didn't seem to hear. He just kept staring. Then he turned and walked out of the house.
He blames me. He thinks it's my fault.
Why did you ever send it to him, Leonora? Why did you pick
him?
Well,
I meant no harm, Abby. I swear it on my heart. I didn't mean
You better tell George about it, in case there's any trouble.
Yes, I'll tell George. You see, if I'd sent the letter to Abby, it never would have happened. That's what I would have done if she wasn't always trying to make herself better than I was. I wouldn't have been in this if it wasn't for her. I left the Bon Ton and went to the square. The Country Hill bus wasn't due for half an hour. I couldn't stand there, so I walked out of town, and I crossed the wooden bridge over the river. The side road was pitted with ruts left by the rain, and I stumbled and the heel of my shoe broke off. I sat down on a patch of grass and tried to fix it, and then I heard a branch snap in the trees behind me.
Hello, Mrs. Carpenter.
It was a voice I'd never heard before. But when I turned, I knew the face. It was Peter Kaczewski. He was all dirty and unshaven, and he had a half-empty bottle in his hand.
You afraid, huh, Mrs. Carpenter?
You stay away from me! Stay away, do you hear?
You...
He started for me. I threw the shoe. It caught him in the face, and a nail tore a gash in his forehead. I turned and started to run up the hill.
I got you.
I could hear him behind me. He was getting closer and closer, and the house was still a quarter of a mile away. A quarter of a mile away.
I got you, Mrs. Carpenter.
Autolite is bringing you Miss Agnes Moorehead in The Chain. Tonight's production in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Say, Harlow, what ignites the ignition system?
I'll ask the Autolite ignition engineers.
And what sparks a spark plug?
That's another for Autolite ignition engineers. If anyone knows spark plugs, it's these same Autolite engineers who design coils, distributors, and all the other vital parts that make up the complete ignition systems used as original equipment on many makes of America's finest cars.
They really know, eh, Harlow?
Yes, sir. And look at the Autolite resistor spark plug they developed. It's one of the greatest advances in spark plug design for automotive use in the past 20 years.
Can they talk about spark plugs like you, Harlow?
Sure they can. And your friendly Autolite spark plug dealer can tell everyone listening to this program as much about world-famous ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs as I can.
No.
Sure. So go to him and have him replace your worn-out spark plugs with world-famous, ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs. And whether you choose the resistor type or the regular type, for smooth performance and the best in gas mileage, you can't buy a better spark plug for your car because you're always right with Autolite.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage our star, Agnes Moorehead, in The Chain, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
My lungs were ready to burst. I wanted to scream, but no sound had come. And there was nobody to hear me. Nobody but Peter Kaczewski. He was stumbling along after me. I heard the ball drop and break. I could see the house now in the clearing through the trees, and I started to cry. I couldn't run any faster. I just couldn't. He was almost up to me. He reached out, and I felt his hand tearing at the back of my coat, and then he fell. He fell. I heard him go down, but I didn't turn to look. I crossed the clearing, up the steps of the house. I tore at the clasp on my handbag to get the key. Well, it was stuck. Kaczewski staggered into the clearing. I remembered the spare key under the doormat, got it, and opened the door. He had reached the porch steps. I slammed the door and locked it in his face.
Come out. Come out, Mrs. Carson.
Go away, do you hear me? Leave me alone.
Get away from me. Nobody runs to help you. You don't get away. I go wait for you.
I leaned against the door, trying to get my breath. I could feel Kaczewski on the other side of it like a big crazy ape. What did he want to hurt me for? I took a chair and braced it under the doorknob. Then I heard him move. He padded down the porch steps, but he wasn't going away. He was moving around to the back door. I raced through the house. The door was locked. So were the storm windows on the lower floor. I ran upstairs to the bedroom. George's service revolver was in the bureau. I got it and opened the window.
Calm down, Mrs. Carson.
Get off this property!
No, calm down.
Look, I've got a gun and I know how to use it, you understand? Will you go?
You killed my wife, Mrs. Carson.
Oh, I didn't. I never saw. I never knew her.
You sent me that letter. Then she died.
You go away, I warn you. I shoot. I shoot.
Shoot.
I didn't hit him. He started to back away across the clearing. I fired again and again. He kept backing away, looking at me with that mean, horrible face. I tried holding the gun with both hands and squeezing the trigger as George had taught me, but I couldn't hit him. He backed into the trees at the edge of the property.
You're going to pay for what you do, Mrs. Carpenter. I'm going to come back. I'll see you again. You're going to pay.
I held the gun in my lap and waited till I could see him going down the road towards town. Then I unlocked the bedroom door and slipped down the stairs to the telephone.
Number, please.
Town 3417.
Just a minute.
Castle Insurance Company, Reynolds speaking.
Bert, this is Leonora.
Oh, yes, Leonora?
Is George there? I must speak to him.
He's out for the afternoon making some calls.
Is Miss Holden there?
No, I think George gave her the afternoon off.
Oh, I see.
Is anything wrong, Leonora?
No. No, Bert. Did you tell George about Kaczewski and the letter?
Yes, Leonora, I told him. And he told me why you sent it. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Well, if George comes
I'll
in...
tell him to call you. Goodbye, Leonora.
Bert, I'm at the... George knew. He knew and Betty Holden knew. She was keeping him in town. This was what they wanted. They wanted something to happen to me. It'd be getting dark soon. Kaczewski would come back and I'd be alone. I'd be all alone.
Number, please.
This is Mrs. George Carpenter of Country Hill. Will you call the police and ask them to send a car out? Somebody's trying to kill me.
Break the door down or get in through any of the windows?
No, but that...
Well, Mrs. Carpenter, he wasn't carrying a weapon and he never actually touched you. I can't arrest him for attempted murder. There isn't even enough evidence for a simple assault.
I want that man arrested. arrested. Do you hear me?
Well, what you want has nothing to do with the law, Mrs. Carpenter.
You're supposed to protect people. That's what we pay taxes for.
Kachevsky pays taxes too, Mrs. Carpenter. You fired a gun at him. If you're smart, you'll drop this.
Haven't I the right to protect myself in my own house?
In the house, yes, but
Well-
you were behind locked doors firing at a man out in the open.
Oh.
If you'd killed him, you'd have been charged with murder. Now, take my advice and don't use that gun again unless somebody breaks
But
in.
that man is crazy. He's just crazy.
If I had a simple mind like his and the same thing happened to me, I might be crazy, too.
But I can't locate my husband. I'm alone here. You've got to find that man and arrest him. I demand it.
All right. But all I can charge him with is trespassing. We can hold him until his fine is paid, and that's all.
Well, I don't care what you charge him with. Arrest him. Just arrest him.
He may bring counter charges against you.
What charges could he bring against me? I've never hurt anybody. I've never done anything to anyone.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, Mrs. Carpenter. I like nice people. Goodbye.
If you see my husband, tell him to come home. Tell him I'm alone here. I don't know what I'll do alone.
When we find Kachevsky, I'll call you.
It started to get dark, and I sat there listening to every sound. And then it started to rain. I heard it pounding on the roof. It frightened me. If somebody came up to the house, I wouldn't be able to hear them. 7 o'clock came, and then 8, 9, 10. I didn't dare light a light. Then I thought I heard a car. George. It had to be George. The headlights flashed through the windows as the car turned into the drive, and a moment later I heard his key in the lock.
Leonora,
What's the matter, George? Are you surprised to see me?
all the lights were out. I thought you were in bed.
Oh, is that what you thought? Was that why you waited so long to come home? Where were you?
Where I go is no longer any concern of yours.
You were with her.
All right, Leonora, I was. For the first peaceful evening in 10 years, but not the last.
What are you saying, George?
I'm going to divorce you, Leonora. I'm moving into town tonight. I'll be at the hotel.
I'll stop you. There isn't anything I won't do to stop you.
I know I can depend on you for that.
A wife doesn't mean anything to you, George. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know what happened today.
I know you tried to kill a man with a gun.
How do you know that?
Everybody knows it. The police are looking for Kachevsky. You have no feeling about what you've done to that poor, confused devil, have you?
I haven't done anything to him, the superstitious idiot. All I did was send a silly letter. That didn't kill his wife. I'm sorry she's dead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You're not. You're only sorry because you're afraid for yourself.
How can you say that to me?
Because I know you, Leonora. After 10 years, I really know you. You didn't send those letters the way other people send them. You sent them with a curse out of the evil of your heart.
You can't kill people with a curse.
Which is fortunate for me. I'm not talking about the act, Leonora. I'm talking about the intent. I want to get my clothes.
You can't. You can't. I won't let you.
All right, I can get others. Goodbye, Leonora.
I forbid you to leave this house.
Get out of my way.
No, George, no, I'm your wife. Remember how things used to be with us? They can be that way again, George.
Let go of
you
me.
know I can make you happy. Kiss me. Just kiss me once.
Get out of my way.
No, George. Oh, don't leave me. Don't leave me. I tried to sleep, but I couldn't. The rain got heavier. Each time the lightning flashed, I could see the river below. It was beginning to wash over the bridge. A shutter tore loose and started to bang.
Hello. Hello.
Hello? Who is it?
Lieutenant Marsh at police headquarters, Mrs. Carpenter.
Have you found Kachevsky?
Yes, the boys brought him in about a half hour ago. I did all I could.
Oh, what do you mean?
Trespassing is a minor charge, Mr. Carpenter. Bail was set at $25. Mr. Reynolds just came in and bailed him out.
You mean he's free? You let him get away? You've got to send somebody up here. You can't leave me alone if he's loose.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Carpenter, but there's a storm emergency. Besides, the bridge is washed out, and I'm tying up the line talking to you. Good night.
Lieutenant! Lieutenant! Operator, get me, Mr. George Carpenter at the Clearview Hotel.
I'm sorry, but the lines are open for emergency service.
But I must speak to him. I must.
I'm sorry, but the storm has washed out most of the lines. We only have 3 circuits open for emergency.
But this is an emergency. I tell you, it's a matter of life and death.
Just a moment. I have a clear line.
Oh.
Please make your call brief.
All right. Hello? 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 Hello?
Here's your party.
Hello.
George! Oh, George, it's Leonora. You've got to help me, please. They arrested Kocheski, but Bert Reynolds bailed him out.
I know it. Bert told me.
You know it? You let him do it? You want me to be killed?
He took Kocheski home and put him to bed.
But he won't stay there. He's crazy. Oh, come out here, George. I need you.
The bridge is out. There's no road
Well,
over.
he'll find a way to get here. Oh, do you want me to go mad, George? I'll give you a divorce. I won't fight it. I promise you, George. Only don't let me die.
Leonora, you're hysterical. It's after midnight. I'll be...
Go on, George. Go on. George, please, George. George. The line was dead. Dead like I was going to be dead. Kocheski would come. They didn't know it, but I did. The rain stopped, and I sat there listening to the ticking of the clock. It struck 1, then 2. That was all. It was so peaceful, and I almost dozed off. Something was moving outside. I went to the window and saw the figure of a man turning into the shadows behind the house. I found the gun where I'd left it under the sofa pillars. I couldn't shoot him until he broke into the house. I moved to the kitchen and waited. He was fumbling with the door. There was a metallic sound. He was forcing something into the lock, and then it clicked. The door swung open. He was framed in the center of it, and I fired. He fell. I backed through the house, opened the front door, and started to run. The road was a sea of mud. I knew he was dead, but I could feel him behind me, chasing me. I got to the river. It was starting to flood, but there was a boat coming across. Oh, I just cried with relief. When it landed, I ran to it. A man jumped out.
Hello, Mrs. Carpenter.
Oh! No, you're dead. You can't hurt me. You're dead.
My wife, she's dead, Mrs. Carpenter. Look at me, lady. Look at my face.
I'll give you money. I won't say anything about this. You can get away.
Why you do this thing to me, Mrs. Carpenter? Why? What I ever do to you?
My husband was the one. He told me to do it. I didn't want to. He made me.
You lie, lady. Your husband is good man.
You're choking me.
Don't you like to die, Mrs. Carpenter? You like to write letters. You like other people should die.
You mustn't kill me. You mustn't. It's wrong. You've been punished for it. You know that, don't you?
Who going to punish me, lady? You?
I didn't mean to shoot you up there tonight. I thought you were hurt. I was coming down to get a doctor for you. You just came across the river. You couldn't have gotten down here before me. George! It was George! I killed George!
You kill your husband?
I thought it was you. I mean, I don't know.
You want to kill me, but you kill him.
I don't know.
No. You kill your husband, Mrs. Carpenter. You kill him. Now they're going to make you pay.
It was an accident. An accident. I tell you, an accident.
Run,
it was an accident. It was an accident. It was an accident. You should catch him and put him away because he's dangerous, I tell you. I came back here to the house and I found George. I left him just as it was so you could see it was an accident, Lieutenant. I called you as soon as I got the phone line working.
Yes, I see, Mrs. Carpenter. Did you get all that on the wire recorder, Chuck? Yeah. Good. Shut it off. Well, you better get your coat, Mrs. Carpenter.
You mean I'm being arrested?
On suspicion of murder, Mrs. Carpenter.
Oh, but you're making a mistake. All I did was write a letter.
And kill your husband.
But that was an accident. Why should I kill George? I had no reason.
But you did have a motive for killing him. A very strong motive. He left you. He was divorcing you. He was going to marry another woman. And you knew all that before you shot him.
But I didn't.
It's on the recorder.
Oh, you don't believe me.
Well, don't worry about me, Mrs. Carpenter. It's the jury you've got to convince.
All
I did was write a chain letter.
Suspense. Presented by Autolite. Tonight's star, Agnes Moorehead.
Doctor, lawyer, merchant, chief.
Hap, you're stating my belief that every car owner can be happy if his car is equipped with a set of the world-famous ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs. So be sure to have your dealer give your spark plugs a spring checkup. Autolite makes over 400 products for cars, trucks, planes, and boats in 28 plants coast to coast. These include complete electrical systems used as original equipment on many makes of America's finest cars. Spark plugs, batteries, generators, coils, distributors, electric windshield wipers, starting motors, bullseye, sealed beam headlights. All engineered to fit together perfectly, work together perfectly, because they're a perfect team. So, friends, don't accept electrical parts supposed to be as good. Ask for and insist on Autolite original factory parts at your neighborhood service station, car dealer, garage, or repair shop. Remember, you're always right with Autolite. Next Thursday for Suspense, our star will be Miss Joan Bennett. The play is called The Statement of Mary Blake. And it is, as we say,
a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Tonight's suspense play was produced and edited by William Spear and directed by Norman MacDonald. Music for Suspense is composed by Lucien Morawek and conducted by Lud Gluskin. The Chain is an original play written for radio by Joel Murcott. Agnes Moorehead may soon be seen in the Warner Brothers production Caged. In the coming weeks, you will hear such stars as Claire Trevor and John Lund. And don't forget, next Thursday, same time, Autolite will present Suspense, starring Joan Bennett.
You can buy world-famous Autolite resistor or regular spark plugs, Autolite stay-full batteries, Autolite electrical parts at your neighborhood Autolite dealers. Switch to Autolite. Good night.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The National Broadcasting Company presents Radio City Playhouse, Attraction 2. Before we raise our curtain, we'd like to take time for a small speech. It amounts to this. Thanks. Thanks very much for your many, many very wonderful letters in praise of our opening play, Long Distance. Bowing to your wishes, we promise we'll repeat it later on in this series. Tonight's play is titled Ground Floor Window. It was written by an extremely talented young author, Ernest Kinoy. With Bill Redfield starring as Danny and directed by Harry W. Junkin, here is Radio City Playhouse, Attraction 2, Ground Floor Window.
I've been sitting in this ground floor window of ours for 23 years. Yes, ever since I can remember, I've watched the girls playing potsy on the sidewalk, the boys playing stickball, dodging the cars, shooting marbles in the gutter. I'm 23 now. 23.
Hey, Billy, go in here and talk, will you? Come on.
It was 6 years ago that I first saw you, Ruth. You were the new upstairs tenants. There was a big yellow moving van, the furniture, your father managing everything. I remember the first words your father ever said to me. The first words your father ever said to me were...
Hey, you in the window. This 791. I said, is it 791?
No use asking him, mister. He's dopey.
Yeah? What do you know?
Yeah, he's a regular goof. Just sits there all the time.
I can't...
See? Like I said, he can't even talk straight. Yeah, it's 791 all right. You're moving in, huh?
Yeah. Say, the goof there, he ain't dangerous or anything, is he?
Him? Nah. He can't even get out of that chair. His ma even has to tie his shoes for him.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, Ruthie, this is the right place. We're home.
What's wrong with a kid in the window, Pop?
Never mind now. Go find the super and get the key to the apartment.